What's up? 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 What is up? How are y'all doing today? It is Friday, and y'all know what that means. That means we're gonna have us a good old time tonight. I am your host, Emmanuel Noisette. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for coming out today. I really appreciate it. We have got some entertainment news to go over from the week. I am going to give you guys my review for Predator, Killer of Killers. What else? The Ballerina, the John Wick spinoff. And I will also, unfortunately, have to give my thoughts on this whole idea of a White Black Panther. And of course, we have other topics as well. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and see who has made it out today, or maybe, who's on their way. Shout out to the replay gang, by the way. Let me grab some quick. Let me see who is here. Who got here nice and early? Paulette coming through. Thank you so much. My man Mitch is here. Thank you. Appreciate you. MC, how are you? Let's see. Corey, thank you so much for making it out. We got, come on, Miss Harper, come on through. Yesterday was your birthday, so you already know. Yes, happy birthday to Miss Harper, one of the originals. Come on through. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a fantastic birthday celebration. I'm assuming even if it was yesterday, you still gonna celebrate all the way through the weekend. So happy birthday to you. Sam K, hello. Jesus, good to see you. Jay, how are you? Thank you so much. Holding down for the Mod Squad. We got Kristen Pratt. Appreciate you. Talented one. What is up? Treese, hello. My man Raymond is back. Who else did I see? Wait. Let's see. I don't want to go too far. There we go. Black Prophet is here. What's up? My man Mo is here. Raptor, hello. King Chad holding it down. Lavender, hello. Tracy Ann, what's up? The Woke Breaker, hello. Who else? My man Theo is here. Good to see you. 60 plus. Appreciate you coming through. Come on now. We got Justia's back. Good to see you. Shar, appreciate you. Diane, always good to see you. Soto, hello. Ism, how you doing? Rabia, good to see you. My man Chris is back. What's going on, Eugene? Good to see you. Quiet Riot, hello. There we go. My homie Rhonda is here. CJ, wait, did we get it? There we go. CJ, good to see you. Christy, thank you so much. Kristen, hello. Jerem, what is going on? Who else did I see? I saw Puma. There we go. Puma's here. What's up, DePaul? I see ya. Mama J is in the building. Always a pleasure. And who else did I see? I saw somebody else. There we go. Kiki, I got a topic for you a little later. Love to see you weigh in on that. Nelson, good to see you. My man Sean is here as well. Shout out to everyone that has made it out tonight. I really do appreciate y'all so much. I'm looking for my man Terrence. Where is Terrence? Hopefully Terrence is here. I know Terrence is usually chiming in on the replay gang sometimes. I'm looking for my man Terrence. Somebody put an APB out for my man Terrence. Hold on. Sunshine, welcome to your very first time catching a live. I'm glad that you can make it. Thank you for making the effort. All right, we got some. Let's go through some of these here. Jarrell, yo, I got married recently. Such a blessing. But that's not why I'm here what I'm here to say. E-Man, you finished Andor yet? First and foremost, congratulations. Marriage is a beautiful thing. For those of you that love it, go for it. I highly encourage it. It's work, but it is a blessing when you find the right person. So congratulations to you on that. As for your question, see what had happened was, now look, just I was gonna watch it. Golly, I sound like Nelson. Golly. See, now here's the difference. And I know my man Nelson is here. Okay, I know he's here, so I could joke with him like that. The difference is, instead of watching that one thing, I had to watch something else. I haven't watched something. I had to watch something else. So no, I have not watched Andor yet, but we will talk a little bit about Andor. We will talk a little bit. I had to watch some old movies, one that I had not seen yet, and two that I had to do before I watched the sequel. So one movie I had to rewatch was The Accountant. I had not seen The Accountant since it came out, and I really wanted to watch The Accountant 2 because I skipped it, I missed it, but I was afraid that I was going to miss out on a lot of stuff. So yesterday I rewatched The Accountant, and that's why I kind of missed out on that. But on top of that, and I know I didn't review it, I haven't talked about it. I also watched Barbarian for the first time. Solid movie. Solid movie. What's crazy is the fact that for whatever reason, as long as Barbarian has been out, no one, not even on the internet, has spoiled it for me. And I was so appreciative of that because the surprise, the twist in the film, I think is worth it. It's not a perfect film, but man, that was really enjoyable. I was, whew, listen, that was a good movie. That was a good movie. I enjoyed that. But, and of course, as you guys know, I was watching Ballerina and Predator. So I had a pretty full week of stuff that I had to watch. But Andor's is coming. Andor's is coming. Okay. But thank you so much for that, Jarrell. And congrats again. Tracy, you can't wait till you hear my raves about Andor 2. Maybe, you know, I've already told y'all since I haven't seen it, I'm not gonna trash it. I'm not gonna trash it. So, you know, it's all we gonna see. Rabia, thank you so much for joining the live. I appreciate you. Thank you for the support. Natalie, what up? Evan, who is Evan? Who's that? What? I don't get it. What's going? Unless you meant E-Man. Unless you mean E-Man. I'm like, who? See, this what happened when you be cheating on other channels. You done said the wrong name, and you sent it as a super chat. You see, this is what happened. This is what happened. You going how you gonna be cheating and say the wrong name? Natalie, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. Thank you for the support, but I am disappointed. I'm like, who is Evan? Who is y'all been watching Evan's movie reviews? Like, who is this Evan? Oh, so hurt. So hurt. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Here's the other problem. And I guess we're gonna start off on this sidetrack. Unfortunately, the answer to your question is yes. I did watch this movie Straw. And this is primarily, and I blame her 1000%, Mrs. E-Man. This was her fault. Okay? Because I came there, I literally just watched this 2-3 hours ago. Just earlier today. Y'all know I avoid the Tyler Perry stuff. I'm not trying to trash the guy or nothing like that. But the wife, I went downstairs. I was making some breakfast, and she put it on, and I was like, "Oh, what's this? What are you watching?" And she was like, "Oh, you know, it's whatever." And I was like, "Is that Taraji? I'm a fan of Taraji." And then I started seeing. I didn't even know it was Straw. I didn't even know it was that. But once I started seeing the struggles, once I started seeing, oh, I can't pay my rent. Oh, I just want to be a good black mama. Oh, life is hard. Oh, I was like, babe, this smells like a Tyler Perry movie. And she was like, oh, it is. I was like, why would you put this on? Why would you do this? You know, I'm downstairs cooking. You know, I'm like in the house. Why would you supposed to go do that stuff upstairs with the door closed and let me know don't come upstairs? What are you doing? So, because I had to cook and because it was on, I ended up watching the whole thing. 80% of it was predictable. 80%. A lot of it felt like drama porn, not trauma, drama porn. What I mean by that is, let's keep finding a way to make this movie more dramatic than it needs to be. This movie wanted to be John Q so bad. This movie had so many unnecessary, extreme characters that made no sense. Now, I will give it a little credit. The little twist ending, it wasn't bad. There was a nice little twist ending for it, but it was poorly written. It was so poorly written. And that's like this movie gets an A for effort. It gets an A for effort. And I'm not going to trash it because there is an audience out there that doesn't want critical analysis and they just want to find a movie that they can be like, yeah, I know that's right. Oh, preach it. Because that's all this movie was doing, was preaching stereotypical black tropes. And I was joking with my wife. I'm spending way too much time on this, by the way. I was joking with my wife where I was saying the interesting thing about Tyler Perry's movies is he's going to find every single way to push black female characters to the brink every single time. And this, I said this maybe like 10 minutes into the movie. You're going to find a way to make sure that their relationships are terrible. You're going to find a way to give them so much stress. You're going to find a way to make traumatic situations happen in their life that any one person would barely take. And he managed to check all them boxes off. I was thinking of Diary of a Mad Black Woman. I was thinking of Daddy's Girls. You know, let me just dangle some kids and throw them out the window. Like, you're going to find some extreme stuff to put black women through in your movies. And this was no exception. This movie was way longer than it needed to be. I thought this movie was going to be done in 30 minutes, but they found a way to drag it on. Characters did things that made no sense. Would not recommend. Would not recommend. Let me leave it at that. Let me leave it at that. If you like Tyler Perry movies, this is right up your alley. I'm just going to respect the fact that I accidentally watched this. I'm not going to review it for real. I'm not giving it no rating. I think you can kind of tell at this point what it is. But if y'all enjoy it, all power to you. All power to you. It's not for me. And I will have a strict conversation with my wife about what she plays in the future. Thank you. Nelson back at it. Straw was done in 4 days due to Taraji's schedule. I can tell. I can tell. Like, that's very evident. Very evident. But thank you so much. Let's see, Natalie. I was auto-corrected. Let me cook. Was that Cooking with Evan? Is that the new show you was watching? Cooking with Evan? Is that it? Hi, Natalie. Hi. Whatever you say. Oh, here come Tracy. Why you gotta give me all this grief? You a TV movie critic, right? Andor's getting major award buzz. It's about revolution, and it's brilliant. I trusted you with Sinners. Come on, sir. Okay, I failed you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I have not committed. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I try to give what I can. I told you I'm gonna get to it when I get to it. This I will do. We are going to talk about Andor a little bit more later. We will talk a little bit about it. So hold tight. Just hold tight. Okay. Now we can actually get started. All right. First, let's do some quick updates, go over some movie news and TV stuff. that you guys maybe you'll be interested. I am totally interested in this, and that is the Alien franchise. Alien Romulus' sequel will begin filming this fall. Say less. I'm hopeful that it's still going to be Fede Alvarez or Fede. I forget if it's Fede or Fede. I hope it is because he did a phenomenal job with Romulus. I'm looking forward to more Alien movies. I'm here for that. Speaking of sequels, a sequel to One of Them Days is in the works. So if you like Kiki Palmer and SZA, they are both coming back. I did not watch this. No hate, no nothing like that. I just didn't watch it. I've heard that it's cool. I've heard some people who have watched it liked it. They're basically saying it's a female version of Friday. So if you were one of those people that watched it and enjoyed it, hey, they got more coming. Get ready. So let me know if you're down for a sequel for that. Now I will say, as an 80s baby, as a 90s kid, I used to watch this all the time. Okay. Don't judge me. Well, you can, because I don't care. But apparently, a live action Care Bears movie is in the works at WB. My only question now is why? Just why? I mean, Care Bears were cool when I was like 4 or 5 years old, or what, I don't know, however old. You know, I was a little kid. And maybe it was problematic for me, but my favorite was Grumpy Bear. I just thought Grumpy Bear was the realest out of all of the bears. At a young age, I used to think Grumpy Bear was just that dude. He was like, man, I don't want to, man, I gotta do what? I don't feel like doing this right now. Nah, man, I mess with Grumpy Bear. That was a good bear. But I don't see the purpose. I'm not saying they shouldn't do Care Bears and bring them back, because I'd love for my kids to watch them, right? Maybe you could get some of the magic that I got when I was a kid. But live action? For what? For who? Who is the audience? I don't see the need for this. If you want to bring them back and do an animated thing, great. But I don't see the point. I don't see the point. But y'all let me know. What do you think about a Care Bears live action movie? Is that something you'll watch? Or maybe is that something that you'll bring your kids to watch? Let me know. Speaking of sequels, again, Ma 2 is now in the works. Octavia Spencer will reprise her role. Now, I remember watching Ma, the first movie, and I thought it was okay. It wasn't great. I thought that the best part was Olivia Spencer or Octavia Spencer's acting. That was the best part. But at the same time, I'm like, nothing about this needed a sequel. Nothing. Especially given the ending of the first movie. So, unless y'all about to do a prequel, maybe. But even if you do, for what? For what? For those who haven't watched it, I mean, if you are bored and if you can stream it for the free, I guess, but this ain't like some must-watch movie. It was actually kind of creepy and awkward just seeing her act this. I gave her credit for her performance. That's about it. Anyway, my question is, why are they not calling this Mama? That's the only logical name that they need to make this. Like, forget Ma. It's the sequel. Mama. Like this, that's a slam dunk. If y'all can't call Ma 2 Mama, put it away. Y'all failed. You failed the easiest layup. You bricked. So, I don't know. You guys let me know if you have watched Ma, if you remember it. What do you think about the sequel? Maybe it will be a prequel. Maybe I don't know. Whatever you think, let me know in the comments. Now, we've talked about this familiar, legendary figure multiple times on this channel, and a little bit of insight has been brought up, and this is about Martin Scorsese. Now, for those of you that know, Martin Scorsese, legendary Hollywood director, yada yada yada. And most notably, at least on this channel, we've talked about how much he hates all the big franchises, the Star Wars, the Marvel, and all of that, right? Well, maybe here's a little insight on him. It says here, Martin Scorsese doesn't watch movies in public movie theaters anymore. Peter Travers says Scorsese told him that audiences talk and go on their phones too much during films now. Okay. So here's two things that I picked up from this. One, he's not wrong, right? Scorsese is not wrong because depending on the movie, not all movies, you will see people not fully engaged. You will see maybe some teenagers on their phone. That's just the byproduct of this generation. However, I think that's more telling on the movie as well. Because when I've gone to certain movies, when I see the movie is kind of bland, when it's kind of predictable, when it's not all that engaging, then that's when I see people on their phones or they start talking or whatever. But when I see something that's super engaging, when I see something that has captured someone's like just attention, I don't see nobody talking. Ain't nobody on their phone. So a lot of that depends on the actual film itself. Now, the other point that I would bring up is you also have to think about the fact that some movies will get people talking. If you're watching something like Final Destination, you don't think I'm going to turn to my neighbor and be like, oh, hell no. Like, yes, I might do that. We might have a conversation about how we mutually would never go do that stupid thing on the screen. That is part of the communal experience. Okay, it happens, right? But what I really draw from this is probably how out of touch Scorsese has been now, right? The same guy that rails against the big tentpole franchise movies doesn't like going in the place where he hopes people will watch his movies. If you don't understand your audience, what makes you think you will understand how to make good cinema? Because the audience changes, people change over time, expectations change, attention spans change, a lot of things change. So you are willfully ignoring the consumers of your product because you clearly feel like you're above them at this point in some way, shape, or form. No wonder you don't get it. No wonder people will sit here and watch your stuff and be bored. They probably be on their phone because the Irishman put them to sleep. Sorry. I mean, like, the art house film critic, audience can only watch so much of your stuff. At some point, you will need the general audience to also help support your movies, or else you don't make money. So anyway, he's not wrong that, yeah, sometimes people will talk, sometimes they'll be on their phones. You're not wrong. But sometimes the movies are boo-boo. And it is absolutely vital as a filmmaker to understand your audience that consumes your films. Maybe instead of isolating yourself away from the audience, maybe you should immerse yourself into the audience so you can understand, why did they turn away? Why are they on their phones? Why are they even talking? Is the talking even a good thing? Maybe it's a bad thing. You don't know because you're not there. So rather than having this kind of demeanor, this approach, I think it would be in Scorsese's best interest to actually go to a theater once in a blue moon, maybe even a Marvel movie, and see Why do people actually like this? What are they actually talking about? It might help. Might help. Who knows? Anyway, y'all let me know, what do you think about Scorsese in the theaters and avoiding them like that? Is this a good thing, bad thing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What else? We got some more quick hitters. Blumhouse is acquiring the rights to Saw, with Lionsgate still involved as a partner. So this is actually going to put the creative rights back with James Wan, who created the whole franchise to begin with. And to this day, Saw 1 and Saw 2 are still two of the best in the entire franchise. But yeah, I like this idea. I like it going back to James Wan, because he does have a partnership, a joint partnership with Blumhouse now. So that is good. The bad part that I am worried about is James Wan probably will not be directing. And I still stand by this. The vast majority, I won't say all of them, but the vast majority of the spinoffs of the movies that James Wan has created, Annabelle 2 was good, but Annabelle, some of the Nun movies, the Conjuring movies, like after he stops directing, those movies only get worse in quality to me. So that it's nice that he will kind of get back, the Saw franchise. It would be even better if he actually would get back in the director's chair and direct the movies as well. Because again, the quality is a huge dip in difference. Let's see. Next, we also have, I don't know if any of you guys are fans of this franchise or not. Sly Stallone, the Tulsa King. So I did watch the first season of Tulsa King. It was okay. It was okay. It wasn't like the best thing. It wasn't like the most entertaining thing. I remember watching it and I was like, you know what? This is a good little series to watch when I'm bored, if I'm in between stuff, and if I just want to, get from one show to another, if I got to fill in the gaps. Well, apparently, there's a Tulsa King spinoff series that is still going to be set in New Orleans, and it's in the works at Paramount Plus. And this time, they got the legendary Sam Jackson to star in the leading role. Now, I have not watched season 2 of Tulsa King, so I don't know if this needs a spinoff or if they've planted seeds for it or not. But I think it's a interesting development. I mean, I'm always interested in whatever Sam Jackson is doing. So I like this idea. I like Sam Jackson in general. So I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. This might actually even get me inspired to go and finish watching season 2 of Tulsa King. But I already know y'all gonna bother me to watch Andor. So I will watch Andor before I ever touch Tulsa King. Okay. I know that. But anyway, y'all let me know how you feel. There were no details on what the spinoff would be about or anything. So I figured I'd just throw that out there real quick. We've also talked about this Street Fighter. We talked about how Jason Momoa was going to be in there. We got Andrew Koji from Warrior. He was going to play Ryu. Nick Centrino, or whatever his name is, was going to play Ken. But now it seems as though, according to, I think this was from Jeff Snyder, we might actually have our new M. Bison. And it is none other than Walton Goggins. At least he's in talks to star as M. Bison. So here's the thing. M. Bison is probably one of the more iconic villains in video game history, just because of Street Fighter, of course. Raul, shout out to Raul Julia. Like, he just did a phenomenal job in a terrible Street Fighter movie back in the day. But M. Bison, even in the games, in the animated series, like, he is that dude. Walton Goggins is a phenomenal actor. This dude gets on the screen and does a lot with whatever he's given. He did great in Fallout. He does great in just anything he is in. I cannot put these two people together. Not like that. As much as I love the work Walton Goggins puts in, at no point in life would I sit here and say this guy could or should be M. Bison. And the biggest thing that I'm looking at now is who is the casting director and producer for this Street Fighter movie? Because I don't know if they're giving me the signs that they know what they're doing. Now, I don't doubt Goggins' acting ability. I'm sure he could do it, but from all the news we've gotten so far with this Street Fighter movie, it feels like a whole setup for a joke. Nothing about this except maybe, Andrew Koji is like Ryu, because at least he can actually fight. Everything else sounds like a joke. Walton, not as much because he actually can act, but this does not feel like a role for him. Will he do it justice? I'm sure he'll do his best, but I'm still very iffy about this movie. But y'all let me know, how do you feel about Walton Goggins playing M. Bison potentially in Street Fighter? Is this something that you would interest you? Let me know in the comments down below. We got some more. We got a lot of quick hitters. We know an X-Men movie is coming, right? The X-Men movie is coming. Marvel has greenlit that. That is going to be a live action film. Apparently, there's a rumor going around. Now, keep in mind, this is coming from My Time to Shine. I would not suggest this as being a reliable source for information, but somebody, they did mention one actress or actor who would be playing in the X-Men or in the in Marvel, and that would be Bella Ramsey. Right? Bella Ramsey from Last of Us, from Game of Thrones, is rumored, or at least, I don't know, Marvel's got their eye on them, right, to play in the MCU. Now, who, what, where will they play? We don't know. But there is one other source, one other person who usually I would say is pretty accurate, and that's Daniel RPK. And all he did was retweet and say Kitty Pryde. So Bella Ramsey as Kitty Pryde. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it. Now, Bella Ramsey can act. Definitely can act. I just don't know if I will believe Bella Ramsey as Kitty Pryde. At some point, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. So I don't know. You guys let me know. How do you feel about the potential of Bella Ramsey playing Kitty Pryde in the MCU, more than likely in a live action Marvel X-Men movie? I mean, they're doing okay in Last of Us, but I don't know. Lastly, we have an update from Madam Web. And this is from Madam Web herself, Dakota Johnson, who, if you recall, Dakota Johnson has been going through the ringer with Sony every single time she would basically throw Madam Web under the bus. And it seems like she's still not letting up. She says here, The failure of Madam Web wasn't my fault. She said that in the interview, there's this thing that happens now where a lot of creative decisions are made by committee or made by people who don't have a creative bone in their body. So, a couple of things. I think that she is 100% right. There are absolutely decisions made in Hollywood that do not come from creative people. Yes, you will have a writer come up with a story. Then you'll have a director who has to direct it. But then you got a producer who has to sit here and put that in front of the studio investors and stakeholders and all this stuff. And you get like people like a Nelson Peltz who will be like, Black Panther, Captain Marvel. We not about to make a movie about all the blacks and the women's. No, I don't want that. So, the people that really, it's up to the people that put the money in at the end of the day. And those people that put the money in, they're probably not actual creatives, right? They're high-level executives. So I do not disagree with what she's saying in that regard. I do also believe that the people who put Madam Web together, I do believe that they were incompetent. I do believe that because I've talked about this multiple times, it makes no good business sense to promote people that were responsible for failures in the past. Whether it's the writer, whether it's the director, whether it's even the actors, you promoted people that, let's say, bombed on Morbius and said, hey, you know what we should do? Instead of finding new blood, instead of finding better talent, let's have you now go work on Madam Web. Like that is, it's backwards thinking to me. Now, where I would disagree with her is she said that the failure of Madam Web was not her fault. Well, ma'am, you didn't help either. I'm just saying you didn't, I'm not saying Dakota Johnson hurt the film, but she definitely didn't elevate the film. Let me give you an example. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, was not a good movie. It was not a good movie. But Jonathan Majors, he didn't hurt the film as Kang the Conqueror. He actually elevated what little good stuff was in the film. He was the best part of the movie. So, yeah, maybe you didn't kill the whole movie, but it's kind of boring. It's a little flatline. Like you ain't really do nothing to elevate it either. So anyway, all right, guys, y'all let me know, what do you think about Madam Web not being Dakota Johnson's fault and being in charge or being run basically by a whole committee of non-creatives? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That was a lot of quick updates, man. All right, we got a bunch of comments here. JN, what you got? Scorsese is right, but grumpy / never adjusted to the times. The superhero movies he hates on phones are never out. Think you missed my previous comment. I think I got you. But yeah, I mean they I don't see people with their phones out if the superhero movie is good. I've seen it out for like Eternals. I remember people was like, man, I remember that. I've never seen people be distracted for a Spider-Man movie. Like, I've never seen that. I've never seen it for an Avengers movie, so I definitely saw it for that Solo movie. Ugh. I don't know why. I don't know why people swear by that movie. That Han Solo movie, trash. Let's see, Mo Show, what you got? When I saw Endgame, a girl 2 seats down talked throughout the whole movie. Wow. See, now this is the kind of question though. Like, what are they talking about? Are they talking about like, oh, well, this is what happened on my day, and I'm gonna go to Starbucks later, and this is like, or are they talking about the movie? Like, I think that that's why I was saying I think there should be a difference in terms of understanding what are people talking about, right? If they're talking about the movie, yeah, it's rude, don't get me wrong, but they're still engaged with the film. Now, if you're talking about like your boyfriend and your relationship issues and some other stuff, that's a problem. That's a problem. So, I guess that it would depend on what that whole conversation was about, even though that could still be annoying. JN, Rachel Zegler should be Kitty Pryde. I take her over Bella Ramsey. That's fine. Fine by me. I'm sure you could find a dozen and a half other actresses that could do that, though, that could play that role. Like Kitty Pryde does not seem that difficult to cast. All right, let's move on. Let's do a quick Hollywood versus AI debate. Now, this has been an issue, of course, because AI is moving rapidly. It is expanding. It is getting more efficient. It's doing a lot. We've heard how people, even like Tyler Perry, would talk about how he was looking into using AI to help with shooting different things with his movies. It's going to be a factor. We went through the whole writers actors strike where studios were talking about using background actors and using AI and stuff. Right now, if you go on Netflix, for example, and if you watch an old school TV show like A Different World, right? If you try to look in the background, like because they upscaled everything, so it looks a little cleaner and crisper, more like HD looking. But if you look in the background, there are things that are squiggly, right? You can't read writing in the background on an old TV show that's been upscaled with AI because the AI can't read that book. So if you had a Cat in the Hat book sitting in the back wall, it's just going to look like a blah, blah. Like that's what it's going to look like, right? It's almost like if you were in a dream. So, or if you look at the what is it? I think the writing on certain shirts, sometimes the writing on the shirts, they also get blurred up because AI can't read what's on the person's shirt when they're trying to upscale it. So AI is definitely becoming a factor. It's just a question of how much and where's that line going to be in Hollywood. And it seems like in the latest story here, Lionsgate is just one of the studios that we know of that is starting to get a little bit more deep with the AI. And we have a story here. It says here that Lionsgate announced last September it had inked a deal with AI startup Runway to allow filmmakers the chance to augment their work and to help the studio enhance and supplement their operations. It says here, this is by was he this is the vice chairman for Lionsgate, Burns. He says here, the Runway deal was to allow filmmakers to make movies and television shows we'd otherwise never make. We can't make it for 100 million, but we can make it for 50 million because of AI. He goes on to say here, they could use Runway to package and resell what the studio already owned, maybe adjust the tone, format, and rating to generate a softer cut for a younger audience, or convert a live action film into a cartoon. Interesting. This kind of just reminds me of what they do in music, where you have an artist drop an explicit, album, but then you got to have the radio cut, right? You got to have the radio version where they're not saying the N word, but they're saying ninjas, or whatever. So I could definitely see how this would be an interesting way for them to go if they want to maybe even include something like this for parental concerns. Like, hey, maybe you can't watch this movie as as a 14-year-old because it's rated R, but maybe I can select the PG-13 version and you can watch it just fine. I actually would, as a parent, I would not be opposed to that. I think that would actually be kind of cool. And then, of course, as the kids get older or whatever, then they can watch the rated R version and they can see like, oh, this was a little bit different than I remember, or something like that. So I wouldn't be too upset about that. Let's see. It also goes on to say the studio can use AI to take one of their signature action franchises like John Wick or the Hunger Games. And basically, now we can say, do it in anime, make it PG-13. 3 hours later, I'll have the movie. The executive stressed he would still have to pay the actors and all other rights participating, adding, but I can do that and now I can resell it. You know what? That part I'm not mad at. I'm not mad at that at all because if you think about it, well, actually, no, okay. You know what? I'm not mad at that because at first I was thinking to myself, are you shortchanging the people that work on the production side? But you're really not. So this kind of sounds like a win-win, kind of so far. It sounds like, hey, we got this John Wick movie. Everybody got paid. We made this movie, right? But now we want to make an anime of it and we want to make a PG-13 version. But we're still going to pay the actors, directors, writers. But we're only going to make it for a fraction of the money. And when we resell it, we'll probably make even more profit. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad if the people that originally made it are still getting paid and they're not getting screwed over. I'm not mad at that if you're just reusing the same thing. Now, I do think it's a problem if you start taking the AI and try to make something new from that, because then I think you're taking money out the pockets of the other creatives. But if you're just remixing what's already been done, and you're paying them, like, let's say royalties or whatever, I think that's I don't see the bad side with that. Maybe y'all do. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something, but I think that wouldn't be the worst case scenario. I don't think it would be too bad. He goes on to say here, like as an example, we have this movie. We're trying to decide whether to green light. There's a 10-second shot. 10,000 soldiers are on the hillside with a bunch of horses and in a snowstorm. We can use the AI, and it'll only take a few days to use AI to create the shot for about $10,000. I mean, I'm not too mad about that either. Because if we're talking about a pilot, we're not talking about, something that's already signed and inked or whatever. You're talking about like, hey, we just need this for concept. Like, what would a Game of Thrones Battle of the Bastards look like? Does a studio really need to go hire 10,000 extras and all these set production and stuff just to see what this would look like? Or would it make more sense to use AI, get like a little pilot image, and then when they actually greenlight it, they'll be like, okay, we like how this looks. This is cool. Now let's go get the real actors. I'm very okay with any of this as long as it does not impede or hurt other actors. As long as they're able to also get it in there, I'm very okay with that. But I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I there's something in here I didn't see, but I think this might be okay. But you guys let me know. Are you comfortable with how the studios are using AI now? Is this something that could be detrimental? Or do you think it'd be beneficial? Whatever you think, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I have got to send some love to Low Key. Thank you so much. Appreciate you for the $25 Cash App. She says, happy Friday, E-Man. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. All right. I am so disappointed. Oh boy, Nelson. AI may make those Tubi and Perry movies better. It might. It might. That's yes. Yes. It might. We do have man, where it see, you see, I specifically found this update for my man Terrence. Terrence will consistently donate to the channel on the Cash App every time, and he will ask for a Doctor Who update. And I finally got a Doctor Who update, and Terrence ain't here. Terrence, this is going out to you for being a long-time subscriber and a long-time contributor. This man would donate to the channel even if I didn't have a Doctor Who update at all. So listen, this is my way. I told you if I find something, I'm gonna give it to you. I found something. Now, this has more to do with the ending of the season finale. So if you're a Doctor Who fan, if you care about spoilers, you gotta leave or you gotta turn this off while you see this up. I don't know what to tell you. I think that it's already aired. I don't watch Doctor Who, so this does not bother me, but I do want to be respectful for those of you that do watch Doctor Who. Leave, go. Okay. All right. You've been warned. All right. I forgot how to pronounce this brother's name. So I'm just going to call him Doctor Who. I apologize. I usually try to research and if I can have the time to, I forgot it. But the brother is leaving. And apparently he has, I didn't even highlight this. Okay. Apparently he is leaving the show. And I guess it is a normal thing that Doctor Who transforms. So it says here that at the end of the episode, there was a credit that read that Doctor Who as the Doctor, and then Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, and introducing Billie Piper. So apparently he done turned into a white lady. I'm assuming that this is normal for the Doctor because the Doctor turns into a bunch of different people. But Billie Piper said in a statement, "It's no secret how much I love this show, and I've always said I would love to return to the Whoniverse as I have some of my best memories there. So to be given the opportunity to step back on that TARDIS one more time was just something I couldn't refuse. But who, how, why, and when, you'll just have to wait and see." So it sounds like this was, I'm gonna need y'all help on this. Okay, Professor, what you got? Billie Piper played one of the Doctor's previous companions. She's a fan favorite. Okay, I'll take y'all word for it. I will take your word for it. So it sounds like they went back to a fan favorite. I haven't heard anything negative about the current Doctor or past Doctor. So man, it sucks, I think. But he gone and she's back. So y'all let me know if you have watched Doctor Who or if you're a fan, feel free to let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. All right. We have a Game of Thrones update because y'all boy, George R.R. Martin, is back with the commentary. Where's Kiki at? Kiki, I need you front and center. George R.R. Martin has arguably made one of the most popular TV shows with the Game of Thrones franchise based off of his books. Or the TV show was made off his books. Yeah. However, this man has been doing everything and anything outside of finishing his last book. This last book has been, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's written a page or two. I don't know if he's still thinking about it. But the fate of this book and its ending has been like his white whale. It is his Moby Dick. He keeps chasing this dream. But I don't think he's ever... He will talk about how he be going out to parties. He writing other books. He doing video games. He doing other TV shows. He's doing every single other thing except for the one thing that everyone is looking for. So apparently we have an update here from one of his blog posts, because he still updates on a blog. So it says George R.R. Martin voiced his frustration this week about readers who think that the 6th book, Winds of Winter, will not be completed. So he's talking about the haters, right? In a post on his blog, Martin was originally announcing his involvement with the animated project unrelated to his hit fantasy franchise, but then he took a moment to address the skeptic fans of Song of Ice and Fire. So once again, he was about to make an announcement about something that had nothing to do with Game of Thrones. Nothing. That's all he's good for. He will sit here and find the time to do everything else. He says, I know. Some of you will just be pissed off by this, as you are by everything I announce here. That is not about Westeros or the Winds of Winter. You have given up on me or on the book. I will never finish Winds. If I do, I will never finish A Dream of Spring, referring to what would have been the series' 7th book. Let me read that again. I will never finish Winds. If I do, I will never finish A Dream of Spring. He goes on to say, if I do, it won't be any good, seemingly repeating accusations from his critics. I ought to get some other writer to pinch hit for me. I am going to die soon anyway because I'm so old. I lost all interest in A Song of Ice and Fire decades ago. I don't give a crap about writing any longer. I just sit around and spend money. And he goes on to say, the Starks and Lannisters and Targaryens, Tyrion, Asha, Dany, and Daenerys, the dragons and the direwolves, I care about them all more than you can ever imagine. Well, sir, you clearly don't care enough to finish the story. I mean, like, actions speak louder than words. Actions speak louder than words. And listen, I can't disagree with almost any of those comments. Almost everything that he just said that his critics would say about him sounds about right to me. Sounds about right. Let's just be honest. Okay? Let's be honest. Sir, yes, you are getting up there in age. Okay? I'm not trying to body shame or nothing, but it does not look like you are in peak health either. Time's a ticking. And you keep playing with Father Time. And Father Time never loses. Never loses. He's like a Phillian in O. Okay. I just hope you got some notes somewhere. Just like I don't even see what the harm would be to get another writer. Like, just get another writer. I'm sure you have some other writer out there that has geeked out on you. Listen, George Lucas, who's still with us, he got proteges, right? You can't find a protege. You can't find somebody, groom them up. No Diddy, but I'm just saying, groom them up and like make sure that they understand your concept, your way of thinking, and just be like, hey man, you gonna sign this NDA, but this is how I would like this to end. You fill in the gaps, but this is my thoughts on it. I'm saying, brother, hey, George, AI, put that sucker through Chat GPT. We not gonna care. We not gonna say nothing. I'm not gonna say nothing. Just finish it. Hey, chat. I am George R.R. Martin, and I would like to finish this. Here are all the pages I have done. Here's the ending I would like. Help me out. Help me. There's no shame. Look, at this point, there ain't no shame. I don't know. I don't know. Y'all let me know. This y'all boy. I don't read this. I don't read his books. I don't know. I love his shows. The shows are great. How do you feel about George R.R. Martin letting y'all know it ain't never gonna happen? Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. He's never gonna finish. At least he's honest, I guess. Because at this point, I'd rather you just tell us that instead of giving us all this false hope. But y'all let me know, what do you think in the comments down below. Hold on one second. I gotta check on the daughter. She on a little date right now. She on her way back. All right. Let's talk about Stranger Things. So finally, Stranger Things is coming back. Finally, we are going to get these grown adults, because they clearly grown by this point. But we had a teaser trailer that was released. I can't play it because copyrights or whatever. But we did get a little bit of information of what we can expect with Stranger Things. I really wish I could cover that show on my channel, but they keep breaking it up in these long chunks and releasing it all at once at times. So that just ain't gonna happen. But we do have the plot synopsis for the final season of Stranger Things to kind of give us an idea of what we can expect in this final chapter of the story. It says here, plot synopsis for final season. The fall of 1987, Hawkins is scarred by the opening of the rifts, and our heroes are united by a single goal: find and kill Vecna. But he has vanished, his whereabouts and plans unknown. Complicating their mission, the government has placed the town under military quarantine and intensified its hunt for 11, forcing her back into hiding. As the anniversary of Will's disappearance approaches, so does a heavy, familiar dread. The final battle is looming, and with it, a darkness more powerful, more deadly than anything they faced before. To end this nightmare, they'll need everyone, the full party, standing together one last time. All right. Cool. Now, the one thing that has also been discussed is like, how are they going to make this? How are they going to drop this? And it says here, let's see, we do have an update on how this format is going to be. Looks like we're going to get 3 different volumes for the final season. Volume 1 is dropping November 26th. Volume 2, December 25th. And Volume 3, December 31st. So it looks like, you'll have like a week or two in between. I don't know, you got a month. So after November, you got a whole month, and then it's just a week. This is so weird. This is such a weird breakdown. But it does say here, Volume 1 will be 4 episodes, Volume 2 will be 3 episodes, and Volume 3 will be the final episode. Wait a minute. The final episode? So you about to wait a whole week just for who is coming up with this schedule? Who is doing this? This is weird. Anyway, I'm okay with this. I'm here for it. I like Stranger Things. I've enjoyed the franchise ever since it started. I do think they took way too long. But let's just hope that all this time was necessary to deliver something great. I will say that season 4, I really enjoyed it. I thought they did a very good job going as dark as they did with it. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But you guys let me know, are you looking forward to the final season of Stranger Things? How do you feel about this release schedule? Are you interested? Are you not? Whatever you think, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. All right, we got 1, 2, 3. We got a couple more left. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Let's go into some Star Wars. we have a little bit of Star Wars news. One is going to come from the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mark Hamill. So Mark Hamill, in case you did not know, has played the legendary figure of Luke Skywalker in the Star Wars franchise. And in this interview, he was basically asked about the legacy of Star Wars, and he talked about how he felt about playing Luke Skywalker and what he was hoping for moving forward. So in this interview, he had this to say here. Let's see. We never expected it, him and George Lucas. We never expected it to become a permanent franchise and a part of pop culture like that. But my deal is I had my time. I'm appreciative of that. But I really think they should focus on the future and all the new characters. And he says, and by the way, when I disappeared in The Last Jedi, I left my robes behind, and there's no way I'm gonna appear as a naked Force ghost. I like that. That was funny. So, a couple of things here. I went back because y'all know the other time last week I gave y'all what I believe were some fixes that they can do for Star Wars, and one of them was to leave the Skywalkers out of here. Move on. They had their time, and guess what? You can start focusing on new characters and listen what the man has said. Because I remember looking at some of the comments. I ain't gonna name no names. But some people was like, E-Man, you don't know what you're talking about. E-Man, you wrong. E-Man, you don't know nothing about Star Wars. Does Luke not know nothing about Star Wars? I'm just saying, if the man, the myth, the legend, if he says the same thing I said and agree with me, are y'all about to argue with him? Is that possible? Does that negate? Is that a law with the Force? You can't argue with a Skywalker? And that was my number one. I mean, to get co-signed by the Skywalker himself, and then to have fans hit me up and say, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't. Okay. I don't want to say I told you so, but may the Force be with you. Okay. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that. Validation is a nice thing. I ain't gonna lie. It is a nice thing. No, but like seriously though, like I've said before, I totally agree with him that yes, you do want to move on from the Skywalkers because again, the Force didn't start or end with them. Star Wars, yes, it started with them, but it doesn't have to end with them. It can expand. That's okay. But I will disagree with one thing with Hamill, and that is, sir, you can always come back as a Force ghost. There's nothing wrong with coming back. I think that if you at least have these actors, and if they're still alive, there's no reason we can't just bring back a Force ghost here or there. You don't have to force them, no pun intended, but there's nothing wrong with that. Even as someone who is a staunch advocate of moving beyond the Skywalkers, I think that having a Force ghost is perfectly fine if you want to do that in the future somewhere. Especially if Mark Hamill is still alive, whenever they want to do it. So if they want to do that, the cool thing with a Force ghost is that you can do that with AI. You can do that with, you can do it with digital CGI or whatever. So it's not like you need a lot. You might just do voiceovers or something. So I'm not opposed if you want to do those. If you want to sprinkle in an old Yoda, if you want to bring back Mace Windu, if you want to bring Luke back as a ghost, we already saw they did it with Darth Vader, with Anakin. It worked. It was fine. It didn't intrude on the story with Ahsoka. It's okay. So I think they could do it, but I agree with Luke Skywalker. Moving on, we do have to talk about what is going on with the franchise of Star Wars as well, because Kathleen Kennedy has already come out and said that she is going to be moving on. But the question is, when and where is she going to do that? We don't know that specifically. However, the real question is, okay, let's say you get rid of Kathleen Kennedy. Let's say she walks. Maybe we stop getting movies announced that never actually happen. Maybe we stop getting all these false flags and fake news about, hey, this person's writing a script. No, this person's going to direct, and that never happens. But who are you going to get? Now, I have already said I would like the money team. I think that they would be great. Get Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni. I'm cool with that. But there was a report on the Hollywood Reporter who did, let's say, investigate this question about who would succeed after Kathleen Kennedy. It says here, Kathleen Kennedy on her way out. The open question is, who will succeed her in that role? According to the THR, let me make this a little bigger. Can I? Okay. According to the THR article, the current thinking is a scenario where Chief Creative Officer Dave Filoni and production head Carrie Beck, who are both Lucasfilm vets, they take a co-head approach. Even as an arm of Disney, Lucasfilm remains in many ways a family business, and as a George Lucas protege, Filoni long has been considered a golden boy. Okay, I don't know who Carrie Beck is, but Dave Filoni being in charge of Star Wars, I have no problem with that. But apparently this article did list a few downsides, It says here, but the knock against him is that he might be too steeped in Star Wars lore and risk steering a show into dense mythology that loses a broader audience. He's not the Andor guy, he's the Ahsoka guy. Now, Beck, who joined the company in 2012, knows the ins and outs, but neither she nor Filoni has as much film experience, which could be mitigated by Kennedy's continued presence as a producer on certain Star Wars projects, ensuring quality control in the short term. Okay. Interesting. So, first of all, how dare someone have too much knowledge about the IP that you want to make a whole franchise out of? How dare he? The fact that they're even trying to make that a knock against them is wild to me. Now, again, I have not watched Andor, so I cannot comment. Here's the thing. I hear more, I don't want to say that. I hear great things about Andor, and I'm not going to take that away from them. So until I watch that for myself, that'll be how I can gauge the potential success of Star Wars or not. Now, I do find it interesting that they are going down a similar route that WB did, right? WB went and got James Gunn, Peter Safran, and they said, hey, two heads are better than one. James Gunn, you do the creative stuff. Safran, you do the business stuff, and you do that, and you make that happen, right? Okay, cool. It sounds like Dave Filoni would be in charge of the creative stuff. Carrie Beck would be in charge of the production, other stuff. But since she doesn't have a lot of film experience, according to this article, Kathleen Kennedy would still be a producer. She would still have something. She just won't be at the very top, right? She'll still be in charge of the movies. She'll still make sure that they get done the right way. Maybe Carrie Beck can, learn some things from Kathleen along the way. Fine, right? But somebody's got to take over the reins. I'm okay with this. I don't like the idea of him being too steep into Star Wars. I think that makes no sense. Like, if you have someone who knows the franchise in and out, like, that's what you should want. Like, and if anything, it's not like you can't have people learn over time. You can have a movie let's say that was too Star Warsy, and let's say the feedback comes back and says that nah, we didn't like this, it was too deep. Okay, then you adjust, you pivot, you change later. So I like the idea of having him come back and be the co-lead. I think that that would actually work for them. But the article brings up another good point here, and it says here how much a lot of this Filoni does seem like a logical choice, but how much does the success or failure of the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu movie, how much is that going to factor into all this, given that he did co-write that with John Favreau? Okay, so I do think that this is part of an interesting question to consider, because Dave Filoni primarily was responsible for the animated Clone Wars and the Rebel series, but at the same time, now he's also involved with the live action movie. So if that live action movie, now it's more John Favreau for sure, but if that live action movie does good, that's a nice plug for Dave Filoni to say, like, oh, look at that. He knows how to empower people, he knows how to put people in the right direction or whatever. That can work. That can work. Now, there has been talk about Tony Gilroy, I think, the guy that did Andor. Um, some people were talking about he should be in charge of Star Wars. Maybe. I can't comment on that, but we'll have to wait and see. But you guys let me know. How do you feel about Dave Filoni potentially coming in, being a co-lead, not the head of Lucasfilm? Do you think that that's a right decision? I don't know why they acting like Ahsoka was so bad. Like, yeah, okay, Ahsoka was fine. It was good. I liked it. It wasn't perfect, but I liked it. But what do you guys think? Is this a good move, bad move if they go in that direction? Whatever you think, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. All right. Shogun, what you got? About Filoni being too lore heavy, I think has to do more with the Force, and Star Wars has always been vague. His stuff veers into this is how the universe works with the mom, son, the daughter. Sister. Yeah, sister, son, father, and all that. It's a bit much. So I think that that was actually what compelled me. Like, it wasn't until, because the Force was vague, right? And there was nothing wrong with being too vague, because I think that you can be vague, but if you're going to give more information, don't give it all away. Because even when we got some of the information about the Force and those other entities, I still got questions, right? I still have questions about how it works, what it works. You still got the time element, as well. I don't think that he gave everything away. And I think some of the mystique is still there regardless. So I'm not too opposed to them sharing a little bit more about the Force like that. And the other thing is, he did that in a TV format, right? And I think that there's a difference between exploring an idea or a concept in long form TV format versus what are you going to give to people in a standalone movie. Now, I would agree, doing like the father, brother, and daughter thing, the son, daughter, like that would be too much for a general audience. You would have to ease them into it very slowly over the course of multiple movies. But for a TV series that's primarily consumed by hardcore fans anyway, and not just the general audience, I think that that was fine. So I'm not too opposed to it. I just think that it depends on, are you doing this for the movies or are you doing this for the TV series? Because I think those audiences, even though they might have a little overlap, they're not exactly the same. Not exactly. So, Tracy, what you got? Filoni hated Andor, no lightsabers or pew pew. I mean, is that not what Star Wars started off with? Was that still, I mean, I haven't read that. I don't know, but I'm not gonna lie, there are times I do want stuff like that too. I would love the little lightsabers and pew pew. Like, this is what we came for, is it not? Is that not what gets sold? Is that not what's on the posters? I mean, it's hard to knock people for not enjoying something that's been advertised for the past 30, 40 years. You know? So anyway, I love to see the if there's a quote on there somewhere, I'd love to see that. That'd be cool. But anyway, all right, let's move it on. Let's talk about Uncle Denzel real quick. So, as we know, Denzel is a legendary icon in the business, and he is undoubtedly household name, movie star, Hall of Fame in acting, all of that. And one of the benefits of having someone like that is they're going to have a whole lot of good advice. And apparently, Michael B. Jordan got some great advice from Uncle Denzel, and it had to do with how he deals with his stardom, right? So it says here that Washington actually gave Michael B. Jordan some career advice, encouraging him to stay offline as to not risk being overexposed. Washington put things bluntly by asking Jordan, why would they pay to see you on a weekend if they see you all week for free? It's not. I mean, this kind of a valid question. Kind of a valid question. Goes on here to say that Washington's advice has remained a linchpin for Jordan, who does not have accounts on popular social media platforms like Twitter or TikTok. Jordan does use Instagram, where he boasts 25 million followers, but rarely posts outside of press tours for his film projects. Okay. So Uncle Denzel says, hey, stop showing yourself. Okay. Save a little bit for the imagination. Now, on one hand, keep in mind, Denzel is coming from an old school perspective. He is coming from a older generation that literally did not have the internet. And is not social media like that. That's not his lane, and that's okay. At the same time, Jordan is coming up in a generation where social media does have an impact, right? It can literally create fan bases for people, and it can do a lot. There are pros and cons to all of this. We've talked about how the studios are asking their actors, hey, can you get on social media to help promote your movie? So there is that pro of this thing can help make you more money by giving you more exposure, but you have that con of overexposure. I'm just wondering if we have an example of that. Do we have an example of someone who is overexposed on social media, but when you go to their movies, it doesn't work? Could you say Kevin Hart? Maybe? Because I remember for a while, like I was seeing Kevin Hart all over the place. I don't see him that often now. I don't. And he did have a nice little run with the movies, but I don't know if that overexposure hurt him or not. Somebody mentioned The Rock. Maybe. I see The Rock all the time. Maybe. And I do wonder, if we saw less of The Rock, would his movies be any more successful? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Oof. Listen, right now, I like what Jordan is doing right now. Have your social media, but that doesn't mean you need to put too much out there, right? If you're going to have social media, you don't need to let everybody know what you're doing. You can do things like posting, hey, My new movie Sinners is coming out. Here's some behind the scenes. Because at the end of the day, that promotion is going to help you with your movies, right? Now, what you don't want to do is do something like use social media as a way for people to know too much about you. You don't want someone to, let's say, I don't know, if you wanted, oh, hold on, my computer freezing. I'm trying to think of like another example of somebody who is maybe using social media in the wrong way. I mean, kind of like if somebody wanted a role for a movie, but they didn't want to train. So all they do is sleep on social media and they just post random pictures that have nothing to do with the stuff that they claim that they want. Like stuff like that. Stuff like that could hurt you. Don't do that. Don't do that. Right? So, anyway, not gonna name no names. I'm not mad at Uncle Denzel's advice. Personally, I like the in between. I like the fact that you can have that social media page just to have it, but you don't have to overexpose yourself. You don't have to talk about your latest relationships. You don't have to talk about your personal business, your beliefs, and just keep it for business. Keep it for business. But anyway, guys, what do you think about Uncle Denzel's advice? Do you think this is good? Do you think it's bad? Do you think he should do something different? Whatever you think, let me know in the comments down below. All right. Formerly known as Boss. What you got? Filoni is too indulgent of fan service nonsense. Andor doesn't have to be the goal, but it shows that it's time to put aside too many childish things. Nostalgia is killing the IP and the fandom. Okay. Okay. I'm not. Wasn't Andor in the past, though? Okay. Well, whatever. I'm going to take your word for it. I'm going to take your word for it. Like, what's bothering me now is I don't like not knowing enough to talk about it because I feel like that's doing a disservice to you guys. So I'm gonna watch Andor tonight. I'm gonna watch one episode. I don't want to make this crazy. I will watch episode 3 tonight. I don't care what I'm doing. I'm watching episode 3 tonight. And hopefully that'll inspire me to finish and get to episode 4. And then I will continue because I do want to be able to weigh in on the commentary for Andor. We can have all the conversations. Okay. And maybe I'll just make it a whole topic. I don't know. But I will watch at least. Hold on. Where's Nelson at? Nelson. This is how we gonna do this. You see, I'm not saying I'm gonna watch the whole season tonight. I'm doing one episode. One episode. Because I know I can handle that. I know I can handle that. Y'all telling me I'm gonna be asleep. Don't do this to me, please. Don't do this. I'm gonna get me a little Coke, little Diet Coke or something, and maybe a little caffeine will help me out. But I'm gonna do one episode tonight, just one. I think other people should do one episode of something on their list. But I'm not. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I do think nostalgia of anything should be done in small doses. It should be like, hey, I remember that, but move on. So, all right. But thank you for that. I appreciate you. What else? Shogun back at it. Thank you so much. I mean, it's a bit much because he's talking about universal ideas. Does his lore have an answer to the problem of evil? Big religious questions. If it doesn't, it might come off as pretentious, hence turning off audiences, maybe, in my opinion. Ooh, valid question. Valid question. I would love to see if they can do that or not. I would love to see if they can do that while still be entertaining for audiences. Personally, those are the kind of things I look for. Like, I look for those type of intellectual digging into a story or franchise, but I know sometimes that could put other people to sleep. So I would be curious about that, but I would need to see it if they can accomplish that. But thank you for that. That's great question. Great question. Quiet one, what you got? I think Filoni tapped more into the mystique of the Force, and newer movies started to make a mockery of the Force. It stopped feeling selective. Like Flying Leia. Well, I mean, I will say that I like what he did with the Force in the cartoons because it raised new questions for me. As somebody who was just like, oh yeah, the Force is natural, whatever. Like, I was like, wait, these animals got the Force? Wait, these animals, these other aliens got, like, what is going on? I had new questions. And anytime I have new questions in a good way, it makes me want to keep watching. So I liked what he did with it. I'm interested in seeing where else they go. I'm interested to see that. Let's see. We got ILL. What you got? We really don't see Michael B. Jordan as much unless he's got a new movie. Now, when I think about it, yeah, I think yes. Like, unless he's doing a movie or if he's like on SNL or something like that, which usually because he's doing a movie, we don't see him like that. And I think that works. I think that works. A lot of times, if you leave a good impression, just think about it. The next time you see Michael B. Jordan, it'll be when Creed comes up or his Thomas Crown Affair movie or whatever. You'll be more inclined to think about the last thing you thought about him, which was, oh, I remember him from Sinners. Oh, yeah, I like that. All right, let me check this out. Because social media can open up a can of worms. And you don't want to do that to yourself. You don't want to be the one that said something wrong. Now you got to go on an apology tour. Now you about to be canceled and all this. You don't want to do all that. Just stick to your job. Stick to your job. Do your business. It's all right. It is all right. Thank you for that. Let's see. Tracy, what you got? The Republic was saved by the people sacrificing everything, not two Jedi. Andor is as critical as the first trilogy. Won't bother you anymore about Andor. Okay. That's some big talk. Big talk. And I mean, yes. I will say that is one thing that I respect about Andor so far, but this really came from me watching Rogue One. Rogue One made me respect the fact that, oh, it's not just two little Jedi. No, it's a whole galaxy full of people fighting against this empire. I like that. I did like that. So, sure. Okay. Message received. Rhonda, yes, Andor has a slow first season. Keep going. That's what I need to hear. Because I told y'all there's two types of people. It's journey people or destination. Some people, I'm a destination guy. Y'all keep telling me, the internet keeps telling me the destination is great. The journey is a little slow. So I'm a destination guy. If it's a little bumpy, fine. I will get there. All right. So we will get to all those other chats once we get closer to the topics related. Let's do a Sinners update. We kind of sort of talked about this last week. I already told y'all about, based off of my conversation with Ryan Coogler, what would be in store for a Sinners sequel. And right now, since people have been asking about it, and there was that whole rumor that leaked, we have confirmation from the man himself. And he says here that I've been in the space of making franchise films for a bit, so I wanted to get away from that. I was looking forward to working on a film that felt original and personal to me and had an appetite for delivering something to an audience that was original and unique. He goes on to say, I wanted the movie to feel like a full meal, your appetizers, starters, entrees, and desserts. I wanted all of it there. I wanted it to be holistic and finished thing. That was how I was asked all about it. That was how I was asked all about it. That was always my intention. So in other words, he is not trying to do that. No sequels. He goes on to say, this film is very much me. I love everything supernatural. I'm in. I like stories about communities, about neighborhoods, archetypes, and I love period anything. So when you layer those things together, that does it for me. In other words, he ain't doing no sequel. He's not doing a sequel. Once again, I've already said that if a sequel were to happen, my best guess would be they would have him come back and executive produce it, because it would be ridiculous for them not to involve him in such an original project. That I think that would be disrespectful on WB's part, and they're not dumb. Um, but I don't think he would come back to direct one. So I think that he would do a sequel as an executive producer. It's less hands-on for him, more practical. He could still have some say-so on it, but they'll probably get another director because the studios want that money. So they want that money. They will go ahead and push for that. But I think the best route to go is to make a prequel rather than a sequel. So you can give it up. Looks like Ryan Coogler has already spoken. He said he's not doing it. Now, times change, things change. Who knows? He could always come back, change his mind later. We'll have to wait and see. But what do you guys think about him saying and confirming ain't no sequel for Sinners? Do you think he's capping? Do you think he's, maybe he'll change his mind? Whatever you think, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Rhonda, if you trust me with Primal, trust me with Andor. I trust you. I trust you. Y'all don't understand. Like, have y'all never fought sleep? You ain't never fought sleep? Like, that was my battle. It was not because I don't trust you guys that it's great. It's the only thing I've actively fought myself to go watch. But I just kept falling asleep. That's all. But I'm going to try. And if I can't watch it tonight, I will make an effort to watch it tomorrow morning. So that way I don't have an excuse. I'll have my coffee with me and I'm just going to watch it. So one way or another, this task will get done one way or another. Let's get into, let's do a quick warning. So apparently James Gunn had a warning for all the fans out there. And this apparently has been, it's not the first time he's talked about this. He's talked about this before in other capacities, but he is reiterating this one more time. And of course, this has to do with the Superman movie, but I thought it was important to talk about this. So it says here, he says that fans shouldn't get sucked into the online rivalries regarding Superman and the Fantastic Four. Both movies are coming out relatively around the same time. He says they come out 2 weeks after us. There's room for us both. I love my friends at Marvel. You can find whatever discussions you'd want to find online. I'd focus on all the positivity around the films instead of getting sucked up in the online fan wars. I absolutely love this. Like, I love it. I love it. And here's the thing. I think what he's usually addressing is not the fact that when people have a healthy debate, right? If people are like, nah, I like this movie, and nah, I like this movie, that's normal. Everybody does that. This is my favorite James Bond. Well, this is my favorite James Bond. That's okay. He's talking about, I think, the people that try to be like, well, DC is trash and Marvel's just great. Or, well, Marvel is just pretentious and blah, blah, blah. And DC is just better. And I know he ain't talking about this, but he's talked about it before. Remember some of y'all Snyderites? Some of y'all Snyderites got all up in, your feelings the moment James Gunn got involved and started to create this fake rivalry between Gunn and Zack Snyder. Meanwhile, both of them are friends. And I remember even before that, people was like, oh, James Gunn should go to DC and, like he should stick it to Marvel and this and that. And he's like, man, me and Kevin Feige, we're friends too. So like, there was always like this weird rivalry that people would have online because social media forces you into these tribes where you got to be in one corner, you got to be on this one team. God forbid you actually enjoy all of it, and then force your tribalism on the franchise or on the creators or whatever. It's unnecessary. It is completely unnecessary. I told y'all from the jump, I'm a fan of superhero movies, period. I don't care if you DC, I don't care if you Marvel, I don't care if you are independent. If you make a good movie, you have a fan in me, period. So I like the fact that he brought this up. I think people need to grow up on social media that still try to push these tribalistic mentalities. Like, it is not necessary. Have a fun experience with Superman. It's going to be 2 weeks. You got a whole paycheck in between. Then go watch Fantastic Four and have a good time with that. It'll be okay. As a comic book fan, I feel like we feasting. I feel like we're doing great right now. You know, as a movie fan, I think we're having a fantastic year so far. I mean, I haven't even gotten to the movies I'm going to review yet, but the month of April was really good. We got some other things coming up. Like, summer is looking prime. Just got off of Mission Impossible. What is there to even be a rival about? What are you rivaling? For what? Enjoy the movies. We just had 2-3 years of mid to subpar movies. I don't have time to debate. I want time to enjoy and consume great stuff, right? Anyway, what do y'all think about what James Gunn had to say? Do you think he was on point with this? Did you have issues with what he had to say? Whatever you think, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Man, y'all really going hard for this. Big Bo coming through. Hey, man, the first few episodes of Andor season 2 is a slow burn, but when you get to episode 7, fantastic. Episode 10, a masterpiece. Did you just tell me that it's going to take 6 episodes of going real slow before it gets really good? Yikes. I'm still going to watch it because, like I said, I want to involve myself in the conversation and be knowledgeable, but yikes. I don't know if this was the best endorsement. If I had to tell somebody, like, hey, listen, you're going to have to watch about 11 episodes before something gets fantastic. Golly. I'm just saying, that's a hard sell. That is a hard sell. That's all I'm saying. I will watch, but yikes. All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about y'all movie. Captain America: Brave New World. You know, didn't hit as hard as some people expected. Now, I had already gone into this with an open mind, expectations very low. I thought the movie was fine. I don't think it was great. I don't think it was trash. It was fine, right? It did what it did. I'll never rewatch it again, but it is what it is, right? But if you recall, one of the issues that I had with this movie, and I told you about this a long time ago, it was the trailers. I didn't like the trailers, and I didn't like the marketing, because what did they do? They spoiled the whole Red Hulk thing, and I thought they showed way too much. It was one thing to kind of hint at him. Okay, cool. Then it was another thing for them to sit there and show like his foot or whatever, in the trailer or in a poster. Fine. But by the time the third trailer comes out, and I told y'all, stop watching Marvel's third trailers. Stop. Like, after the first teaser, don't watch nothing else. They done showed Harrison Ford as Red Hulk and all that, right? Well, we now have the director of the movie commenting on the decision to spoil basically the Red Hulk in the movie. And it says here in this article, fans have said Red Hulk's inclusion within trailers not only spoiled the surprise of his appearance, but also oversold the character's presence in the film. Hi, I'm fans. Now, the director, Julius Ona, said here, when you're making a movie like this, an announcement goes out that Harrison Ford is going to play Thaddeus Ross, and you have a fandom as massive and as passionate as the MCU fandom is, you're toast at that point, you know? It goes on to say, in a perfect case scenario, it would have been awesome if that had been an in theater surprise, but I think it would have been very difficult. Somewhere along the way, a toy would have been found, somebody would have leaked the trailer. It's just so hard to keep anything a secret in today's day and age. You know, he's absolutely right. He's very right that, and I've talked about this multiple times. I hate this age where we feed leak culture. I don't like the leak culture, right? Now, I do believe that there are still ways that you can hide things, but part of the issue is, yeah, even if you teleport this person to a remote location or whatever, you still might have an agent that talks a little too much. You still might have, some friend of a friend who was I don't know, a stage hand or something, expose something, leak information. I mean, at the end of the day, the biggest problem is, and here's the thing though, this was still a choice, right? Even if that stuff would have leaked, even if it went out there, guess what? That doesn't mean that you should put it in your trailers. It doesn't mean you should put it on your posters, because when that stuff leaks, people like us will know about it, right? You're watching this program right now. Why? Because you're in that small niche of people that like to be in on the news of movie stuff or whatever. I'll report on it, I'll talk about it, etc. We are not necessarily the general public. The general public, they don't listen to this. They don't try to follow all the rumors online. They don't listen to all the YouTube videos out there. They will usually look at the poster when they're at the theater or watch the trailer that shows up on TV or on their timeline or whatever. So at some point, that's still on Disney or Marvel, whoever's in charge of the marketing. That's still on y'all. Y'all still will have made a conscious effort to go ahead and spoil something because you're like, oh, well, they're going to find out anyway. And last I checked, y'all can't have a conversation with the manufacturers for toys. I'm saying, like, y'all kind of run everything. Hey, toy people, we're not going to get you no toys until this movie is made. It's like, because the toy leaks happen all the time. But again, the general public, they don't care about the toy leaks. They're not looking at that. They're not looking at all, the leakers on Twitter and stuff. They're not looking at stuff like that. Those things don't even really go viral like that. So I put this still on Disney. I put this still on Marvel. Y'all still have a conscious decision to put these things in your marketing. And the more you spoil, the more you hurt your bottom line. Simple as that. So I don't know. You guys let me know. What do you think about what the director had to say about how the Red Hulk was spoiled? Basically, because they put their hands up. There's nothing that they can do. It is what it is. Whatever. So they just let it ride. You think he's on point with this? Do you think it's all cap? Whatever you think, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I got some trailers I wanted to watch with y'all. Somebody sent me this. Have y'all heard of this? I think it's called Man in the Basement or Man in Basement, something like that. Let me see if I can pull this up. Do I have it? I don't think it's scary. Yeah, I don't think it's. So I think y'all should be okay for my scaries out there, the scary heads. I think you should be okay. But anyway, we will go ahead and check this out real quick. I don't even think this is like a full trailer. I think it's like half of one or something. But let's check this out, see what they got going, and let's get it going. All right, let's see what this is all about.
Mr. Charles Blakey? I have it in mind to rent your basement for a couple of months.
I'm sorry, mister. This house isn't for sale.
I'm only interested in renting. I'll pay you $1,000 a day for 65 days.
What?
Are you okay?
The only thing I ask of you is that you tell no one of our arrangement. What do you say? Do we have a deal?
Oh, first of all, you had me sold on Willem Dafoe. I like Corey Hawkins, great actor. So you got good actors here. This man said $1,000 for every day for 65 days. And all he wants is my basement. Yeah. Something tells me I will just go on vacation for 65 days. $65K? And all you need is my basement? Now, the Christian in me does have some suspect, thoughts. I'm also thinking like, hey man, are you about to open up a portal to hell under my basement? Like, what are you about to do? But that 65K, that's a tempting offer. But it's also a little too much. And it feels a little too good to be true. But I like going on vacation. So this is why I love, this is why I love trailers. And this is what a trailer should do. A trailer is supposed to give you the idea. It ain't supposed to show you too much. And it should get you wondering, do I want to see more? At this point, I want to see more. I want to see, what is he doing in the basement? What is, how did he come to the decision of accepting that money? I'm curious. You win. This is how you get my attention. You don't have to show me more footage. You don't have to explain more of the story. It's a quick question. It's a unique concept. Fine. This is how all trailers need to be. You don't need 3 minutes and show me all the good parts and all. You don't need to do that. Let me see this. I will watch this. I will watch this. I don't know what's going on. And I'm okay with that. That's the point of watching the movie. And it's coming on Hulu too. What? And I don't have to go out to the theater for this? Say less. Say less. Sold. Y'all let me know how'd you feel about the Man in the Basement trailer. That's something that you're going to watch. You interested? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm watching that. We got another trailer to look at here. Finally, we got I think a full trailer for Alien Earth. Oh, and this is also on Hulu. Hulu out here trying to snap. Okay, Hulu, I see you. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull this up here. Where is it? There it is. Okay.
9.
Hold on, lady. Don't be counting down. I ain't ready yet. Okay, so this is for Alien Earth. This is going to be the new Hulu series that is coming out. I think it comes out in August. I think. But I'm interested in this. I'm looking into this. I like this. I want to say this takes place somewhere between Alien 1 and 2 or something like that. Maybe it's before. I don't know. Don't quote me on it. But basically, Alien on Earth. Fine. Let's see what happens. Let's bring this out again because I feel like we're doing this another one. So let's watch this trailer too. All right, let's check this out. Alien Earth.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
How's our girl?
She's ready.
You're gonna be the first person to transition from a human body to a synthetic.
Because
What?
I'm special.
That's right. You're very, very special.
What in the Black Mirror?
We have a downed spacecraft.
I want what's on that ship.
We can do it. We're fast, we're strong, we don't break.
It's like a zoo, but the animals got out.
This ship collected 5 different life forms from the darkest corners of the universe.
What?
Monsters.
So it's not just one alien?
Invasive species. Predatory.
What is that?
We don't lock them down. It will be too late.
Hey, yo. Yep. Sign me up. Sign me up. I want it. I want it. I want that. 5 different. See, and what I like about this is the idea that you transferred human consciousness into like a synthetic android body. So that was one of the advantages that the synthetics or the androids had against the aliens, was that they couldn't really detect them, so they didn't really look at them as a threat. So that finally gives, I wouldn't even say the humans, but it does give the non-aliens an advantage to some degree. So I like that. I like that. And that's clearly going to make this girl special here. You have my attention. I was a little skeptical at first, but I was like, okay, just show me what the 5 species. There's more. Yeah. I want that. Gotta have it. If they drop these one at a time, we might have to cover this too. We might have to throw this up there and cover that as well. But you guys let me know, what do you think about the Alien Earth trailer? I definitely don't want to see no more. You don't need to show nothing else. Don't show me no aliens. Don't show me nothing. I'm in. I'm 1000% in. Y'all let me know, what do you think in the comments down below. Quiet one. So you disagree with the Cap 4 director's statement because Marvel did very well to hide things with Endgame if they overspoiled Endgame, it wouldn't have had the impact that it did. Yeah, that's true. That is true. And that's the thing. I mean, Infinity Wars literally threw us for a loop. We thought Hulk was going to be in that movie, and they lied. They straight up lied. And you know what? As much as I didn't like that they didn't have Hulk in there, I appreciated the fact that I didn't know what to expect in the movie. And because of that, it made I mean, it just proves my point. Spoilers don't help movies. They just don't. I know people are like, I don't mind spoilers. That's okay. I just don't think that they help the movie, So yeah, they absolutely have the experience of just doing these things, hiding as much as they can. And again, I think that it will enhance the viewing experience more so than anything else. All right. Okay. Let's get into, we got a couple left. We got the three main topics. We'll talk about Predator, Ballerina, and then the White Panther. So first, let's talk about Predator. So Predator, Killer of Killers is something that I believe is now out on digital. I believe that's also out on Hulu. So you can check it out if you want to. And what this is, just to kind of give you a brief synopsis about it, it's three separate stories. It's a anthology story. You have one story about a Viking. You have another story, and they take place in different time periods, about samurai and ninja, and the last one is about a World War I or World War II fighter pilot. So you have these three stories in this animated film, because it is one big film, and that's the basic premise. And obviously, you got a predator you got to deal with. So let's start off first off, with what I thought was good in the story. I think first and foremost, you got to talk about the violence. I mean, oh my God, the violence was so great. I thought that the fighting choreography was done so well in this movie. It was so fantastic to see. I thought they really took advantage of the fact that it was animation, and there were certain things that you can do in this movie with that. Like this scene right here, man, this was so good with the Vikings. This was like some Game of Thrones 300 type of stuff. It was fantastic. I also think that the cinematography that they used was really good. You had some scenes here like in the airplane sequence. I thought the cinematography was amazing. Just the way that they would actually do some of the camera angles to kind of keep things high paced, high octane. Just even going in the cockpit view, I thought those were really, really done well. I think the one thing that I enjoyed a lot also was the storytelling. The storytelling was pretty, it what it did was it made me care about each character. Every time you got into one of the characters and their backgrounds and their stories, they kept them separate, but they made them to the point where you started to relate and really understand and connect with the characters individually. So you really do get a sense of attachment with each one. I also really liked the overall story arc. I like how they made these three stories feel separate, but they all kind of contribute to the bigger Predator story, like the bigger Predator mythos. By the way, you stay for that mid-credit scene. I mean, it's not long. It's right after the credits, but that mid-credit scene, that to me was something that I was like, oh, if you're a Predator fan, they put that in there for you, right? They did that for you. So I love what they did with that. I think that what's also interesting, kind of going back to the characters, What I liked also was that nothing was kind of given to them. Like everything felt earned with them in the sense that the stakes are high, right? They don't make anything easy for any of the characters like that. And I really thought that that worked out very well. I like the Easter eggs that they threw throughout the story with the characters as well. I thought that they did a very good job with that. And here's the other thing, of course, it's called Predator, right? The Predators are a problem. The Predator is a problem, and I think that they did because there's 3 different Predators in each story. They did the Predators so much justice. You get unique Predators. I love the weapons that they use for the Predators. Everyone had like a different, unique weapon that they would use against, the warriors. And I think what worked the best is the fact that not only did they make them unique, they made the Predators very terrifying, right? But they made them not the central point. So each story is about the character, and the Predator just so happens to be there. And I thought that that was brilliant, right? It's not like, oh, let's only pay attention to the Predator. No, you pay attention to the humans, you pay attention to their story. That's what matters. And oh, by the way, there is a Predator running around that we got to deal with. Of course, my absolute favorite, because I can't get off the story. Y'all, they had us with the ninjas. Okay? They had me with the ninjas. The ninja samurai story, easily, by far, the best. The best. If you've watched my channel, ever since Prey came out, I have been preaching and saying you never can go wrong with ninjas. But I talked about how when the fans online started saying, oh, we should have samurais versus Predator, I was like, no. The way a samurai fights versus a Predator, it's not evenly matched. It's not good enough. You got to have a ninja. And this movie did it perfectly. Like, this movie did what I wanted. You gave me the samurai, you gave me the ninja, you gave me amazing fight sequences. On point, absolute favorite. I just love that so much. So you have those components. If I had to say one thing that was maybe a little bad, it might have been with one of the human stories, probably my man Torres here. Like, there were just some moments that felt a little rushed and a little too convenient. Okay, like, I'm not gonna go specific, but it also had to do with the air scenes. Again, they were nice little battle and stuff, but there were a couple times I was like, come on, man. Ain't nobody finna do this crazy Tom Cruise stunt right now. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It was a little bit like, come on now, like you're doing a little lot. You're doing a lot right now. You're doing a lot. It was real extra. But anyway, with all that said, let me just talk about overall, like, the reason. I think Predator, Killer of Killers, it's making a great argument for being one of the best installments in the Predator franchise. Like I said, the Ninja Samurai story, it was everything I could have hoped and dreamed of. The only thing that probably could have made this better would have been if it was like a full standalone live action movie. This was easily the bloodiest Predator movie, the goriest, the most violent that they've ever had. It is absolutely a must watch for Predator fans. And I think the biggest problem is that there isn't a sequel right now, because I need a sequel right now. So when it comes to the rating for Predator, Killer of Killers, I've got to give this a 9 out of 10. I thought that this was everything Predator fans like and that they want, and they delivered. Now, I will say this because I know that I was talking to a friend of mine and he had not watched the Predator franchise at all. So I thought that it would be helpful to give you guys a couple of the movies of the Predator franchise that maybe you might want to watch. If you remember them, it's okay. But if you've never watched Predator at all, this is what you want to kind of go through. So there are, I want to say like 5 Predator movies. No, maybe 6 or so. I think there are like 7 actually. So what you need to watch, so the Predator movies you need to watch before you watch Predator Killer of Killers, absolutely Predator #1. Absolutely. With Arnold Schwarzenegger, Dutch, you need to get to the chopper. Okay? You got to watch that just so that you can be initiated into the fandom. Predator 2 with Danny Glover. The one reason I would say, I'm not going to say it's one of my favorites. It's okay. The one reason I would say it's worth watching is because towards the end, the way that they throw that certain Easter egg in there, in my opinion, it was one of the few times in movies at that time that was kind of like, oh my God, y'all can do that? You can do that with this movie and do like that little Easter egg. You know what I'm talking about when he went down into the ship. That Easter egg alone, I remember it blew fans' minds away back in the day. So if you're new to the franchise, it would be something that you'll want to check out. Then, even though it's not the best of films, just so that you're familiar, Alien versus Predator. I don't even know if it's like canon per se, but it's not a bad thing to go ahead and just watch Alien versus Predator. I would probably say you can skip Alien versus Predator Part 2. I don't think it's all that important to watch. Feel free to skip it. Predators with Adrian Brody, I would suggest watching that. I think that gives you a good backdrop for what you can expect in this movie. And I think it does a good job with adding to the lore of Predator, the franchise. The next movie called The Predator, directed by Shane Black, skip that. It's trash. It is absolutely terrible. Do not even bother. Don't even look it up. If you accidentally watch it, I'm sorry. Just no. And then last but not least, you've got to watch Prey. Prey came out on Hulu. It was, I think, a great revitalization of the Predator franchise. It saved it in some regards. Absolute must watch. And I think that would help a lot before you go watch Predator Killer of Killers. But anyway, you guys let me know, what do you think about Predator Killer of Killers? Have you seen it? If you have seen it, feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Or if you haven't seen it and you will see it, come on back to this video and let me know your thoughts in the comments. All right. Okay, Chris, what you got? How come Brave New World is not compared to Captain America: The First Avenger? To me, it's the only comparable movie. My guess would be that it's not really an origin movie. Like, I don't think you can compare it because, one, Brave New World is a sequel. It's a continuation of an already established mantle. Yeah, I don't, and I think the expectations are different. You know, you're talking about something that already, and oh gosh, not to really mention, Brave New World had to follow up 3 very solid films. Winter Soldier is still considered a top 5, maybe top 3 MCU movie for a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, you could talk about First Avenger, but I think those movies had 2 different jobs. Origin story, you just got to set the foundation. As a continuing mantle story, you got to keep it going. I mean, keep in mind, this wasn't our first time seeing Sam Wilson as Captain America. He got that in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So different expectations. That would be my guess as to why people are not comparing the two like that. So, excuse me. Oh yeah, duh. I'm like, don't I have another thing to review? Yes, we are going to review now Ballerina. So let's talk about the John Wick spinoff, Ballerina. Now, this is let me give you a quick intro. So this is going to be set in between the events of John Wick Chapter 3 and John Wick 4. Okay, that's the timeline with this. So Ballerina, it follows Rooney, who is a trained assassin raised in the Ruska Roma crime syndicate, all the ballerinas and stuff with the Roman family. Russian family. After witnessing her family's murder, she embarks on this mission to find the people responsible, make them pay, right? With every move that she makes, her vengeance unfolds in a world steeped with rules, tradition, and of course, brutal consequences. John Wick, basically, right? So let's talk about what was good in this first. And I think the easiest thing we could start off with would be Ana de Armas, right? Ana de Armas, I thought, does a wonderful job in this film, as you know, obviously the main character, Rooney. And what she does, I think, is she brings like a very good blend of vulnerability and toughness at the same time. I thought that her action scenes were really captivating. You constantly are rooting for her to win. But I think what made her performance that much better was that this movie was not oblivious to the fact that she's a small woman. And sometimes she's going to go fight against very large, strong men. And what I liked is that they recognized that. They didn't just make her completely OP and she just could be flawless and beat everybody up, because it wouldn't look believable, you know. And before I get my little feminists in here and stuff, yes, I understand that sometimes that happens with men, but usually the men are a little bit more skilled, they're trained, bigger, stronger, whatever. And sometimes it gets bad for them too, right? Because I was actually a fan of the movie The Amateur, and I thought it was refreshing to finally see a lead actor or a lead character not just be the super invulnerable person. And I like the fact that we got that here with her, because she is deadly, but she's not like, oh, I could just wash everybody, right? So I like that. Made it feel more realistic. But more importantly, you see her development, you see her training, which means also everything that she gains in this movie, it feels earned. And because it feels earned, it makes her more likable and more believable. So I really enjoy that. I thought they did a really good job with that with her. But of course, the biggest highlight in this movie is clearly going to be the action, right? The fighting and the action is what you're here to see. That's what you want. And this movie, the action never, ever lets up. The opening scene grabs you immediately. The brutal fight choreography makes every single moment feel intense. You know, I thought that the fights were crisp. The choreography was on point, and it also felt grounded to the point where it really felt real. The weapon stunts were amazing. They had all these different stunts with all these different weapons. I loved them. The flamethrower scene, clearly you can tell somebody was a fan of Dragon Ball Z, or at least some sort of anime, because it looked like they were paying homage to that throughout the whole movie, right? With the flamethrowers. You'll know them when you see them. My favorite scene probably was the grenades. Wow. I ain't never seen grenades used like that. So I like that. I thought it was amazing. They did a really good job with that. Now, something else to kind of talk about was the pacing. Now, I know some people are like, E-Man, how come you talk about pacing? You don't like pacing. No, this actually did good job with the pacing, because to me, there were rarely moments that the film slowed down. The action would often come sometimes without warning, just real spontaneous. And that forces you to not look at your phone. It forces you not to go have random conversations. You have to pay attention because you never know when something is going to pop off. You never know. And like, especially this scene right here. Oh my God. I loved this scene. This was the club scene. I thought it was perfectly edited, and rather than, hey, let me show you every single person that she beat up in every single fight, sometimes they will show you the damage that she leaves, and that communicates enough. And I thought that was perfect. It was a great touch. And one other thing, this movie I thought did a really good job of giving us subtle humor in the right moments. It was the perfect touch. The humor in this movie, it never broke the tension. It didn't try too hard. It wasn't forced in there. They weren't like, oh, let's try and be clever and put this. No. The humor fit the story. It fit the characters. It came in at the right time. You got your little chuckles in, but you didn't, and it gave you just a little bit of breathing room, to get to the next point, but it never broke the momentum. It never got goofy. It was perfect in my opinion. So I liked how they did that without making this an action comedy. They never go that far. Now I have to talk about the bad. So I have to say, as much as I enjoyed the action and the fighting and the stunts and all that, the story was probably the weakest point of this. Now, yes, the setup of it was compelling. There was a bit of a mystery going on, but I don't think that the big reveal hit as hard as it could have. Again, the mystery was cool at first, but that payoff, it just didn't feel like it was going to blow you away. Now here's the thing. You are not going in to a John Wick spinoff movie for the story. So, yes, while I think that this is a weakness in the film, it's not going to make or break anyone. No one is going to be like, oh my gosh, that story was so boring, because you'll have so much action and other stuff to watch. It'll be entertaining. So I have to list it because I'm a critic. That's what I do. But yes, the story, the writing, it could have been a little tighter. It could have been a little bit more engaging. Yes, it's an action film, but that doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice the story either. But again, most people ain't even going in for a story anyway. So let's get into the reason. I would say that Ballerina is nonstop action. It's a nonstop action roller coaster ride that delivers everything John Wick fans could hope for. Anna de Armas, she is proving easily that she belongs in the action star category. While again, the story, it's not groundbreaking or nothing. The film more than makes up for it with the excellent stunts, the brutal fight scenes, and standout moments that I think a lot of crowds would really enjoy. So when it comes to the rating for Ballerina, I would give it an 8 out of 10. It's a strong addition into the John Wick universe. And I think it's a good sign that if they keep going like this, the John Wick franchise has a lot of gas left in the tank, right? You don't always need to bring John Wick Part 16. You can go into different directions and it can work. I would also say that Ballerina is probably the best pure action film of the year so far. Sorry, Tom Cruise. I love Mission Impossible. But if we're talking about a straight up classic action type of movie, this to me beats out something like Mission Impossible, which I enjoyed as well. I would recommend watching this in the theaters. Watch it with a crowd if you can. And I'm here for a sequel. If they want to do a sequel, I'm here for it. But anyway, what do you guys think about Ballerina? Is this something you plan on watching? If and when you do, come on back to this video and let me know, what did you think about it in the comments down below. All right. Okay, Ballerina check. Oh, boss, what you got here? E-Man, did you see the pic of Sophie Turner's body for Laura Croft? Meanwhile, Iron Fist. I have. I have seen it. She's gotten in shape. She has gotten into shape. Sophie Turner. Do I have a? Let's see. No, that's a nice little turnaround. Let me see. Do I have? Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know she was kind of cut up like that. But yeah, let's see. Oh, can I not? Let me pull up. Yeah, look at that. I mean, she got the abs going and everything. Okay, got the gun show out here. Okay. I mean, good luck. It's nice. It's nice when people actually work out and train for the roles that they want. That's real nice. What a crazy concept. All right. But we have got to get to our final topic of the day, which is the White Panther. So normally I do not even feel like talking about the comics for a couple of reasons. Because the comics don't always translate to the movies or TV shows. But because of this conversation with Black Panther, and because of what it spurred, I had to talk about it today because everybody was going to ask me about it either way. So I figured, let's just knock this out. Let's get this out the way. If you're new to my channel, Black Panther is something that I am very passionate about. I am a fan of the franchise. I have been very vocal of my opinions of the decision making, the creative decision making when it comes to the passing of Chadwick Boseman, trying to pass on the mantle prematurely, in my opinion, and obviously recasting the character of T'Challa and his significance, so on and so forth. One other thing I've always talked about was, of course, Black representation, right? The character of T'Challa, specifically, not the mantle of Black Panther, the character of T'Challa was created by Jack Kirby, the legend, and the story goes, according to him, he was walking down, he saw these white kids reading comic books, and he saw that they saw heroes that look like them. But then when he'd see the Black kids looking at the comic books, they didn't have anyone that looked like them, at least not a leading character. There were little background characters drawn in gray, but they didn't have Black characters that they could look up to as a hero. So in 1966, right, around the civil rights era, he decided to create the character of T'Challa that embodied basically the best of the best, right? He was one of the smartest. He was one of the most athletically gifted. He was a king. He led the most futuristic, non-colonized, non-enslaved African nations in the world. He was that guy. Right? That was the epitome of Black representation embodied into the character, not the mantle of Black Panther, but the person of T'Challa. Okay? So recently, ever since the passing of Chadwick Boseman, Marvel has made some interesting moves. One, they decided to double down and kill T'Challa in Wakanda Forever. They wanted to mirror what happened to Chadwick Boseman and make that also happen to T'Challa in the movies. That is something I vehemently disagree with. I think it is incredibly problematic, and they have stuck with that decision so far. Now, maybe things will change. We don't know. There's a whole multiverse happening. They tried to spiritually recast him, I suppose, with the whole giving him a son thing, T'Challa Jr. But I don't think that that's the best course for them to take. Now, one of the main reasons why I felt that way is because the character was created for Black representation in a positive way. And the hope was so that this character would be treated not only by Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, or even the late, great Chadwick Boseman. The hope was that this Black character would be able to stand side by side with the likes of the Hulk and Superman and Wolverine and all these other popular characters. That was the hope. So, of course, when you get rid of the character or if you mishandle the character in certain ways, my issue is, why aren't you doing that? If you don't do that with the white characters, why would you do that with the Black characters? Right? That's the whole point. Equal treatment. So recently, and again, I try not to go into the comics because the comics are, who knows what they can do. They do a lot of wild things. There was a new Marvel comic that recently came out, Marvel Knights, I believe. And this one is actually another story. I don't know if this is like a Elseworlds thing. I don't think it's canon. I doubt it, but it's out there and it's getting people talking. And this one is actually written by Christopher Priest, and it's drawn by Joe Quesada. And what's interesting is the fact that Christopher Priest is responsible for some of the great Black Panther series. Great. Like I personally like Reginald Hudlin more. He was like who I started reading and watching first, but Christopher Priest also has some really good stuff. I mean, T'Challa fighting the KKK. Like Christopher Priest, he is that dude too. But in this story, T'Challa, the king of Wakanda, dies as an old man. So just so you know, spoiler alert, in case you did not know or if you haven't seen this, I'm going to go over some of the spoilers in here. So it says here, after Storm died in an event called the Race War, the former king of Wakanda made a drastic decision, and that was to have a child with Monica Lynn. All right. T'Challa and Monica's son is named Ketima or Katima. He grows up resenting his father and eventually challenging him for the throne of Wakanda. He defeats him, though he does spare his life for reasons that have yet to be revealed, and takes his place as the new Black Panther. So the issue, though, the plot twist comes, is the fact that when Ketima takes off his mask, he's white. Okay, he is white. Now, Christopher Priest had said this in a previous interview. He said that, T'Challa's death occurs on page 2. So it's something early. And that the real focus is how we got to that point. But the author remains silent about the new Black Panther, Ketima. Everything suggests he prefers readers to discover and to draw their own conclusions. So when this came out, I remember seeing a lot of the people online, a lot of the outrage. Now, here's what Ketima looks like. He took off his mask, and this is what he looked like. White guy, blonde hair, supposedly T'Challa's son, right? Now, this is it's very early in the series, and there are a lot of questions. The questions obviously are, how could T'Challa have a white son? I mean, T'Challa's father, T'Chaka, did adopt a white, boy before. That's where the white wolf came from, but that was obviously its own little thing. Let me just say that there's too much in this story that is not resolved yet. We don't know if this is his biological son. We don't know if this is a genetically engineered son. I don't know why he would genetically engineer a white guy, but whatever. We don't know the specifics yet. And because we don't know the specifics, I refuse to be gaslit by this. I know there are people that are really upset about this, and I totally understand why you would be upset about this. Why? Because as I mentioned before, T'Challa, Black Panther, is the embodiment of Black representation. So even passing the mantle down to a white person, it feels very colonizer-ish, right? Now, one bit of credit someone may give is the fact that it's also Christopher Priest. This is a guy who, like I mentioned before, he was not shy about getting the blackety blackness out of T'Challa in the past. At the same time, this also could be, and this is partially where I think I'm going to feel more comfortable in believing, this is shock value. This is shock value more so than anything. I feel like when you look at comics, and I've said this before, comics are extremely niche, right? Yes, we have the movies, then you have the TV shows, then you got maybe animation, but then you got comics. The comics are not something that is mainstream. So because of that, they have to do whatever they need to do to get attention. I remember one of the most viral things that I had ever seen from a comic was the shocking information that Superman died. I remember that as a kid. I remember seeing it on the Channel 7 news. Superman dies. It was amazing. It was crazy. It shocked the comic world. I remember not even too long after that, Captain America, Hail Hydra. What? Blew people's minds, right? Or even more recently in 2015, Thor is a woman now, or Captain America is now Black. Like, this is not new when they need to sell comics. So the idea that they would sit here and show you something this shocking, to me, feels like it lacks substance. So I refuse to get gaslit over this. I refuse to go into some sort of tirade. One, because I don't think that this is the full story and I don't know all the details. Two, I think that this is just marketing. I think it's just marketing. And three, I would like to believe, and this is wishful thinking, that Marvel is not that dumb. They could be. They absolutely could be. But I would hope that they're not that dumb. So, of course, and I'm sure many of you have already thought about this, the problem with this is that this has spurred and rekindled the ongoing meme, I guess, or the idea of Ryan Gosling. And people are like, oh my gosh, Ryan Gosling now could actually be in the MCU as Black Panther. Now, some of you may not know, like, why is this, what's the deal with this Ryan Gosling thing or whatever, just to kind of give you an idea of like why he gets brought up. People created this as a joke. They created, Ryan Gosling as Black Panther as a joke, and it was based off of their race swapping concerns, right? The core of the joke was basically the perceived absurdity of casting a white actor, Ryan Gosling, as a character who's so intricately tied to his blackness, right? That juxtaposition is what made the joke so funny. What I think is even funnier is the fact that people feel as though the epitome of whiteness is Ryan Gosling. I think that's even funnier than the joke that they try to make. You also have, obviously, the casting expectations. Ryan Gosling is known for being, Ken and Barbie and trying to portray a serious Black Panther character. It's just one of those things that it's so crazy. It's just funny to some people. Then, of course, you got the multiverse. The multiverse, you can have variants. So, yeah, there's a little bit of room, I guess, where you could make this happen. And then, of course, there's always been talk of Ryan Gosling being into the MCU. Da 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 da. So let me just say this, because again, I refuse to make this and take this seriously. If Marvel decided to actually make not even just Ryan Gosling, but a white person as Black Panther, if you wanted to do it as a joke, what I would need from Marvel, and I'm not even advocating this because I don't even want to see it, but if you want to be cute and you want to try this, he better die faster than y'all killed off Reed Richards in that last Doctor Strange 2 movie. Just show up out of a portal and immediately you kill him off, since y'all like killing characters anyway. That could be the only way I could see it. Now, again, I don't think that would be funny. I don't think it's even necessary. But if y'all did try this, I guess. But I would also forewarn Marvel, even if you try this, even propping up a beloved Black writer, and even if you had the gall to put this on screen, you would be risking a lot. And what I mean by that is that's absolutely something I would have, and I never supported it before. I didn't blame people, but that's something I would have to boycott. Straight up. Like straight up. If you ever lost your mind and put a white person as Black Panther, I don't care what the story says. That's boycottable for me. That's all. And the reason why I would do that, the reason why I would actually support a boycott, because one thing I was not going to do when it came to recast T'Challa, again, I didn't knock anybody if they wanted to boycott. I personally was not going to boycott an all-Black led movie, because while I had differences of creative, decisions, definitely disagreed, I'm not going to compromise my other objective, which is to support Black representation. So that was not a line I was going to cross. But if Marvel decided to ever cross that, you absolutely need to get boycotted to the upteenth degree. Like, I would do everything in my ability to call y'all out, go on TV, do whatever. That would be inexcusable and unforgivable. And let me be very clear. The reason why I would do that, furthermore, because it's not funny, is because I don't see that same energy when y'all want to talk about other ethnic characters. When are y'all going to sit here and replace the Jewish character with an Asian? When are y'all going to replace the Native American character with, I don't know, some other race? When are y'all going to do some swapping of a Muslim character, in that regard? Like, y'all don't like this. If you're not doing this with everybody, but you happen to just do it with a significantly important Black character, you lose all my respect. I'm not saying you should do that with the other characters. I think you should respect the other ones too. But I'm just saying, nah, you would lose all the respect, period. And it's not going to be worth the little ha 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 joke that will only last for 10 seconds by a small segment of people on the internet. So anyway, I apologize for even giving this more time than it needed. I think that this is ridiculous. If they ever go the movie route with it, I think that it's unnecessary. I think that the comics are just doing this as a ploy. This is absolutely not a comic that I will be going out to read. This might actually be one of those things that I wait on the sidelines. I'm gonna let y'all read it. I'm gonna let other people read it. I'm gonna wait for other people to comment on it. And just like the John Ridley comic run, where they decided to make T'Challa go on a world tour to get his butt whooped, y'all wasn't getting my money for that. You were not getting my money for that. I did not see y'all. No, absolutely not. So y'all can miss me with this. This comic run will not get my money. I will wait for somebody to drop it online for free, and I'm still not going to read it. I'm going to wait for other opinions, and then I'll leave that at that. But this better never see the light of day on the film scene or even on the TV scene. Like, that would just literally prove how inept and disconnected you are from the Black community, which, by the way, we make things popular. The Black community elevates things, and Sinners is one of those examples. When we love stuff, that's when everybody's like, what's going on over there? Oh, that's cool. Oh, okay. Let's go with that. Because we're not part of the status quo. That's just the definition of cool, right? Like anything that's not part of mainstream that gets elevated, that's how you get to know what's popular or not. So anyway, I don't want to give this any more energy. Again, I've talked about this for too long, but you guys let me know. What do you think about this comic? What do you think about the potential? Do you think Marvel could be crazy enough? Do you think they could be crazy enough to actually go this route and even be dumb enough to hire Ryan Gosling for the jokes? Whatever you think, feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. All right. J. Dot, waiting on the Christopher Priest. There you go. I gave it to you. Thank you so much. Appreciate the support. Lawrence, what you got? I have already checked out on Marvel, but I can't see them being dumb enough to bring a white Black Panther to screen. Side note, is it time for Feige to step down? So agreed on the point that I don't think they're that dumb. There's dumb, but you can't be that dumb, right? As for Feige to step down, absolutely not. Like, compared to what? I've heard people like Rob Liefeld and other folks talk about, oh, it's time for Feige to go down. And like, based on what? Like, what evidence does anyone have that Kevin Feige should step down? If you're going to be recency biased and reactionary because they've had a couple of flops, welcome to the world of movies, right? Name any other producer, executive that has over 30 movies that have made billions of dollars that people still enjoy today. Kevin Feige's literally the only one. Name a franchise that is absolutely perfect that has more than like 3 movies in it. I can't name them, right? I mean, it doesn't make sense to sit here and even question arguably one of the greatest movie producers just because he's had a couple movies that did not work out. I mean, that's part of the game. If anyone thought he was supposed to bat 1,000 with Marvel, that is completely unrealistic. You're lucky if you can bat 500. You're lucky if you can get 50% of your movies that are actually better. Matter of fact, it's funny. And by the way, I'm not attacking you. I'm talking about the concept of asking Kevin Feige to step down. I was talking to a friend of mine over Anthony at the movie blog, actually. And we were we had this conversation, and we was like, let's look at all the Marvel movies, just all of them, and let's just say whether or not they were good or they were bad, right? So we went through all the films, and I was like, look, good or bad, when you go through all of them, and this was the calculation we came up with, and this was before Deadpool and Wolverine came out, I think. It was around 60%. It was around 60% that was like more good than bad, if you're just being objective about it. So I was just like, man, like, if any producer is producing over 50%, I can't be mad about that. Because what are the alternatives? We have no idea what James Gunn is going to do. We've already seen what DC tried to do with Snyder. That did not work. We don't even want to look at Sony. Sony is only good because of Marvel's help. Kevin Feige, by the way. So I'm not trying to be a Kevin Feige cheerleader, but we do have to call a spade a spade. The man has made mistakes, for sure. He's admitted to that. But he's also one of the most successful Hollywood producers. So it makes no sense to sit here and be like, hey, Jordan, in your prime, I think it's time for you to sit down because you had a couple games where you missed some shots. Nah, you're still a champ, man. Like, he's still kind of doing his thing. Now, I will say, if we do want to talk about when it's time for him to go, this was my benchmark, right? I've said, forget about the pandemic years, forget about phase 4, forget about your recent fumbles. What are you going to do with the X-Men? If you, as Kevin Feige, cannot give us great X-Men movies, now it's time for you to step down. That's my benchmark. So I'm not going to look at Thunderbolts or Captain America 4 as like, Marvel's in trouble. Nah, what are you doing with the X-Men? What are you doing with your A players, your franchise players? Because if they suck, you got a problem. Same thing with James Gunn, by the way. If Superman and Batman suck, go home. Go home. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it. Thanks, Lawrence. I appreciate you. JN, what you got? White Black Panther. If Gosling, Chalamet show up in Wakanda, man, everyone is welcome to Wakanda after Infinity War, but start with work visas and tour visas first, signed and aggravated blood. Yeah, I don't know about the whole everyone is invited thing. Like, y'all still go, y'all listen, y'all can go to the gift shop. Y'all can go to the gift, like, because Wakanda got layers. Y'all can stay on the outer layer, just stay there. Stay there at best. But thank you so much for that. Now, I definitely don't need Chalamet in there at all. Not at all. Chris, it was awesome, but I give it a 7 out of 10 because of the long, drawn-out backstory. Which one were you talking about, Chris? Were you talking about Predator or Ballerina? Let me know. My fault. I didn't know when you made this one. So, but sounds fine to me. I'm fine with that. Riger, what you got? For $1,000 a day, you can get the F out of my face. You not about to conjure up demons in my house. I would have shut the door in that man's face and called the cops. Listen, I understand. All I'm wondering is, was this your house? Because if you was about to leave and you was finna move out anyway, I don't care what y'all finna do in that house. I'm out of there. 65 days, I can sell the house. And I got an extra money. I got the money from the house and I got an extra 65. Shoot. Wouldn't tell me nothing. I'll be out that piece and so fast. Shoot. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Jay, what you got? Saw Ballerina in the AMC Dolby. Flamethrower scene literally rocked the theater. I'm trying to tell y'all, that flamethrower scene was amazing. I loved it. The only regret I had was that they did show it in the trailer, but whatever. It was still very, very good. Still very good. Wraith, what you got? The new Black Panther story takes place in an alternate future, so I'm pretty sure that this story won't have a real impact on the character. Let's hope. And that's the thing. That's why I'm also not giving this a lot of credit, because if it's an Elseworlds, whatever story, whatever. Like, I don't need to pay all that attention. But like I said, I think this is more for shock value than anything else. So if it's Elseworlds, they can take all the shots they want. They can do all the random stuff they want. It don't have to count. It is what it is. Mike, what you got? All I want to say is two things. Congrats Cuz clearly your channel's growing because I'm seeing the trolls and a second real EFAM ain't got no sense at all. They hilarious, but yeah, play with me if you want to with BP. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. We trying. Yeah, no, we are doing this. No, listen, when the trolls come out, that is when you know you're doing the right thing. You know, I've actually, and it was funny. It's actually funny you mentioned that because I started to see my numbers go down. And I was sitting here, I was like, so let me get this straight. Because I always find this a very interesting thing. Racism is such an interesting American concept and so unique because apparently, just reading some of the comments, people were, I would see comments like, man, I love your channel. I've been here for so long, but man, you know, your take on the race and stuff, man, it's too much. I don't like it. And I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, did you not see that I was black? Like, first of all, second of all, how are you a fan of my channel and you don't know my position on disliking bigotry, racism, and discrimination? Third of all, why is that a deal breaker? Why? Since when was speaking out against racism and bigotry a bad thing? And if it is a bad thing, you're right. You shouldn't be here. Like, I'm sorry. You know, it's wild to me how people can compartmentalize racism, have it cooked and sitting, boiling right here in their mind, but they'd be like, but I love E-Man. I love the movies. Yeah, I'm just going to shut this down, but I'm going to watch the movies and I'm going to ignore all, like, how? Whew, man, just cognitive dissonance. That's the word for that. Cognitive dissonance, where you can ignore this stuff, but you can like that stuff. Michael, what you got? There's a 0.001% chance that a black couple can make a white appearing child. More likely, Everett Ross is the daddy. Call Murray. Yeah, probably. I mean, the whole idea of the kid growing up having resentment against T'Challa. I don't know. Maybe T'Challa killed Ross and Ross had the kid and blah, blah, blah. Whatever. I don't care. But yes, I agree with you on that, especially the genetics. Let's see, Jan. I wish my earlier chat came up. I appreciate your sentiments. The way they have handled T'Challa, Sam Wilson, and so many others has been terrible. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of what they are doing with the characters. But all you can do is kind of voice the displeasure and hope that they actually change course at some point. And that's really all that can happen. You know, I mean, let's not pretend that other characters have gotten bad treatments. The difference is that, unfortunately, when other characters, I mean, I talked about this with Thor, just in the movie sense. When Thor has bad movies, he still continues to fail up. He still continues to get sequels. He still continues to get featured. Black minorities, you know, other genders, we don't get that luxury. That does not get extended to us, which is one of the crazy reasons why they have to be perfect, if not overperform, just so that they can survive. So when you take these risks with these characters, it hurts. But thank you so much, Jan. I appreciate you. Chris, thank you guys so much for the support. I appreciate it. Black characters, they're always trying to find a way to insert race, replace, or add a lighter, brighter, whiter version. This is the first I heard of the comic idea. I'm hurt right now. I'm sorry. And I think that what makes it hurt even more is you're taking the epitome of Black representation even to toy around with these ideas. Now, again, we don't know the full extent. We don't know exactly what they're doing, but just the emotional manipulation for the sake of profit. That's the part that's like, why are you playing with me? You know, it's almost like if somebody was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to make a movie about Martin Luther King Jr. and how he had a secret baby and the baby was white. Like, what? Why? What is the purpose in doing something like that except for trying to sow seeds of chaos, right? You want to take something that is the epitome or a pinnacle of blackness and you want to try and water it down or literally whitewash it in some way. It's unnecessary. And it's gaslighting sometimes too. But thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Wraith, what you got? A Nigerian couple actually had a white baby. Yes, it is technically genetically possible. Let me see if my bio, classes still register. But yes, the white gene or something like that. I want to say it's like one of the recessive genes. So you can get, I mean, because didn't they say like one of the first humans was actually a black person? And it was kind of like, when you get the recessive genes, that's where whiteness comes from, the lack of melanin. I'm not trying to say one's superior or not. I'm just saying, genetically speaking, one has dominant genes, one has more recessive genes, and that's just how genetics work. But it is absolutely possible for that to happen. Shogun, what you got here? Was that white baby albino though? I don't know. Now y'all asking questions that are beyond my purview. Y'all got to go to National Geographic for that one. I don't know. DePaul, what you got? Hey man, I enjoy the MCU, but I think a huge part of it is because I didn't read the comics. Since I didn't read them, things that comic fans knew about the characters I didn't. Example, Bucky. That's really cool. And I think that you are the perfect example of what I've been talking about when I say the MCU is not made for comic fans. It is something because the MCU knows comic fans are going to show up because we have this allegiance to the story, to the lore. We're going to show up regardless, and we want to see what are you going to do with this, right? So that curiosity is always going to be there. However, the success of the MCU has come by drawing in non-comic book fans. That's where the real appeal came in. The moment Winter Soldier was mentioned, I was like, oh, that's Bucky. Like, I knew that. But imagine, and I love what you just said here, if you didn't know that was Bucky and you watched the first Captain America movie, that was a genuine shock for you, right? And I love that for you. It wasn't a shock for me because I knew that happened in the comics, but I love when other people can discover these things, in other ways, and maybe it might even inspire you to go read the comics or something just to see, what's this alternate version? How did this happen here? So, and by the way, it's also funny to me. The MCU is probably the most like non-comic accurate adaptation of comics. Like they do not stick to the comics most of the time. It's like 20%, accurate. So it is its own thing, and that is the purpose of it because they want fans like you to tune in and watch these things, even if you've never read a comic book. That's literally what Kevin Feige wants to happen. He wants that. So you're a perfect example of that. Wraith, what you got? Thank you guys. Thank y'all for the support. I really appreciate it. Bills need to get paid. Wraith, for the sake of fairness, the MU version of Nick Fury had a secret black son that became the new black Nick Fury. Oh, I didn't know that. I know that the black Nick Fury came from the alternate universe, and then they, adapted that for the MCU. But I never followed up on that, and I didn't know that he had another black kid. Okay, cool. I didn't know Fury was getting that. I mean, we knew he was getting them scroll cheeks. We knew he was getting them intergalactic cheeks. I didn't know he had a black son though. That's cool. Big, what you got? EA canceled the Black Panther game last week. Yes, they did. And I just found out that apparently the multiple Black Panthers that they were talking about, you were going to be able to play as Killmonger, Shuri, or T'Challa. And apparently they all were going to fight for the mantle. Whatever. I don't know why they even starting off with that. But that was what we could have had. Whatever. Give the game to Insomnia, just like they did with, Spider-Man or whatever. let Insomnia make us a Black Panther game focused on T'Challa. You will have my money. Period. Like, there's no question about it. I will buy the first edition. I'll buy the deluxe edition. I'll buy the steel book. Make that happen. Make it happen. Thank you so much, JN. I know. I told you, just listen, I told y'all sometimes I will keep your questions until the topic is there because it makes no sense to answer this question early and then go talk about the topic. I like to keep them all on point. I'm not gonna forget about you, man. Let's see, JN coming through. We need an SNL skit. E-Man is black. I know. It's shocking for some people still. I don't know how, but it's shocking for some people. And last, come on through. Script portraying T'Challa as King David, son born out of wedlock, coming to kill all he loves. It wouldn't be fly and be too deep. Coogler's pen could describe how we have been treated from the beginning. Why not? Why not? You could absolutely do that. I don't know if Coogler can do it. I don't know. Because the path that he's gone down already, I feel like he's going to be stuck down that path and it's going to be harder for him to turn away. But I like the concept. I'm cool with it. Let's go. All right, guys, that is it for today. This is perfect timing. The wife just came back from a Kendrick Lamar concert. I'd like to see what she was up to. I want to thank y'all so much for all of the support, by the way. Thank you so much for this for the super chats. Thank you just for commenting and being here and watching. Shout out to the people that are watching live for the very first time. I appreciate y'all. I think we don't have a show. I have homework to do. I have to go watch episode 3 of Andor. I will do my best. I promise. I will do my best. So I have that. I got my homework to do. We don't have a show right now, but maybe we're gonna watch Ironheart. I know we're gonna follow Ironheart when that comes out, and then we'll see if there are some other shows that we should be following. But anyway, guys, it's the weekend. Please be safe. Please enjoy yourself. Shout out to Miss Harper with her birthday. But you know the routine, guys. Wash your hands, wash your butts, and everything in between. Until next time, see you guys later. Peace.